And welcome everyone. This is the Winter Championship for PanAm. It's season 2, it's round 4, and we're about to begin the 3-hour enduro of Silverstone. My name is Nick. I'll be taking you through the proceedings. Right, sitting next to me in the passenger seat is going to be Joe, who'll be working furiously in the background. Joe, how are you today, my man?
Going very well, Nick. How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying some nice weather down here at in my neck of the woods, so taking advantage of that, and yeah, pretty excited for another 3-hour enduro. I love doing them, and yeah, we get to do it again this week, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's right. These are some pretty great races, as we've just got the green light for qualifying, which we will go to in a moment.
Yeah, we had the obviously last week we had the 3-hour of Hungaroring, and this time around it is the mighty Silverstone is where we are this week. We've got some live pictures coming through. Beautiful. Get my screen sorted out as well. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so we've got some pictures coming through. So a field of 14 today. It was a little bit larger last week, but it is an enduro, so it is a teams event. So we've got people racing solo. We've got people racing in teams. One of the solo drivers and last week's race winner, Retro Coffin, he put on an absolutely blistering display last week to take home victory. It was a sensational drive from him in the Porsche, which definitely suited the Hungaroring down to the ground. Not too sure if Silverstone necessarily suits the Porsche as much as the not too sure if the Porsche suits Silverstone as much as the Hungaroring. I got it out there in the end, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, massive congrats to him. Was quite a dominating drive last week. What did you think, Joe, of his drive last week?
It was a great drive. He had plenty of speed. He took in that pressure that came to him from Gonzalez, and he able to maintain the gap and steady pace, and people behind him fell off the road a little bit. But yeah, it was a great drive, great performance, and well done to him.
Yeah, we had Gage Gonzalez was mounting a challenge for him, but yeah, copped that late penalty, unfortunately, which put a bit of an end to it. Who else was the story? Eric Lloyd, who was he with last week? Is he with the same this week? Eric Lloyd and Chris Rise in the Audi last week put on a fantastic performance. Those guys, I think, took home P4, so a sensational drive from those two last week. So we'll see if they can repeat their efforts. I do believe they're in a Lamborghini today, from what I can see, and a very smartly presented Lamborghini. In fact, I'm sure we'll get pictures of that later on in the broadcast. But we're having a look at this is Retro Coffin, last week's race winner. Just setting off on a timed lap right now around this mighty track. One of the most famous tracks around the world. Definitely has some of the most famous corner names in there. He's going through Vale at the moment, through 9, and then the right-hander of Club. So great free-flowing circuit as well. Old school circuit, one of the oldest tracks in the world. We can refer to Britain as the home of motorsport. So I reckon this track would be on a few people's bucket list. It's certainly on mine. Love to get out there one year. Definitely go check out the Goodwood Festival of Speed as well. That looks like it would be a lot of fun. See a lot of very nice, rare old cars. As Retro Coffin just blasting through Aintree. So he'll be the first driver to set a time around here. I think Eric Lloyd might just pip him though, but we'll see them as they start to filter through. And Retro Coffin will give us a pretty good idea momentarily. I think Eric Lloyd's going to beat him to the line. So we'll see a couple of times. Eric Lloyd, 2 minute flat, 2 minute 0.3 in fact. What has Retro Coffin got this week? He tops at a 158.797, so he goes to the top of the times. Looks like Divine will be joining him very, very soon. I know he's about to begin the lap. Flores goes up into P2 in the Lexus. So that big V8 suiting the open expanses of the 5.89 kilometre Silverstone circuit. That's Lud Flores. So nice, tidy time from him. I think Rivadeneira, I hope that's how I pronounce it, in the Honda. He goes top of the times, a 158.427. So starting to ramp up. Track is at fast, 17 degrees air temperature, 23 degrees track temperature. I think it was quite cold during the week in the server as well. The temperatures were quite low, but track is fast and 23 degrees track temperature right now. So definitely not that temperature right now in jolly old England. Who else is out there on the lap? Looks like Piasic in the Aston Martin, the Green Falcon. Very nicely turned out livery on there. So Joshua Piasic is in there right now. So they're chasing a 158.427. Piasic goes a 159.977. And here it is. Here's the Eric Lloyd, Chris Rise entry. The Lamborghini. These boys were driving a blue Audi last week, but have a look at this. That is sensational. A bit of unicorn action on the side. I'm loving all the bright pastel colours in there too. So cannot miss it. You know what they say, look good, feel good. See if that translates into some race pace for these guys. Did a fantastic effort last week. So they'll definitely be hoping they can repeat that. Maybe even go one step further and get on the podium. That would be a phenomenal effort from those guys. In terms of lap times, Gage Gonzalez has entered himself into the equation. A 158.292. There it is. That's a better shot of it. Look at that. That is absolutely sensational. It's got a bit of a Miami kind of vibe about it. I'm loving it. That's awesome. Looks like there's a lot of time and effort gone into that. So whoever's responsible, hats off to you. That's a fantastic effort from them. Where are they sitting right now? Eric Lloyd down there in P13 right now in the Lamborghini. So he and Chris Rise are Zalus Motorsports, or Zalus. Not too sure exactly how you pronounce it. I hope I've done as good as I can. So just coming through Village now. Then the left-hander loop, a little bit of a dip in the circuit there. Easing it out on the exit. And then Aintree is just a flat-out left-hander. And they head down the Wellington Straight. Pumping in speed right now into fifth gear, down into second here for Brooklands. Then the right-hander of Luffield, so this tight and twisty section of the track. Looking pretty smooth right now as Gage Gonzalez sits another fast time at 58 flat. Clearly the best time of the session. As Lloyd crosses the line. And he improves on his position and time. So a 159.850, good enough for P11 right now. 14 cars in the field. You would think with that level of cars, we won't have. We had a few issues last week in terms of lap traffic. Hungaroring, I think, was more symptomatic of the circuit. So 14 cars on the Silverstone circuit, I don't think will incur the same sort of level of issues that we had last week. But it was, I think it was done as well as possible. Saw a bit of stuff in the chat during the week, but I think it all got sorted. So I'm not, Jimmy is out there. As Rivadeneira goes pole position. Who is he racing with? Who's Rivadeneira and Stefano Barrea. Those two boys in the Honda. It's a Honda 1-2 right now as we go over to the other Honda. That's Gage Gonzalez. He's racing with Matt Arantz today. or tonight, whichever part of the world you find yourself in right now. So he's making his way through the loop, turn 14. So Honda P1, P2, 5.5 minutes left in the session. We've got Retro Coffin on the left-hand side of the screen. We've got Gage Gonzalez there on the right-hand side of the screen. So he's P2 right now with 58.0. River De Niro at 57.815. Retro Coffin finds himself in P6 right now with a 58.797 is his best time. Looks like he's going to call this one quits. Gonzalez crosses the line. He goes pole position at 157.7. So he beats the previous fastest time by a tenth to put his Honda on pole position with him and Matt Arantz. See how these boys go. He copped an early penalty last week. They'll be hoping not for a repeat of that. Who do we have here? This is Turner Johnson sitting in P11 in the Mercedes. So a best time of 159.342. If he can improve that for the ZR boys Mercedes. Nicely turned out liveried car as well. Makes his way out of Luffield into Woodcote. Grandstand area. And doesn't improve on his time. So about half a second off his best time. So Turner Johnson, he will remain down there in P11 for now. Just a tick under 4 minutes remaining in qualifying, setting the grid for the 3-hour enduro of Silverstone for PanAm Racing. This is going to be the last Roos broadcast for the year before we take a little break for Christmas.
For PC anyway.
For PC, yes. Yeah. Well, yes. Sorry. How is console going, Joe? I haven't. Did you race on Monday night? I think this week.
Yeah, so it was Monday night to catch up on rounds, and it worked out pretty well. They've fixed up the console version enough that we can get a broadcast out and done pretty smoothly. They've still got a lot of work to do on it, but it was at a point that we could, kind of do what we needed to get it out there, which was good.
And is it back tomorrow night?
Yeah, back on Tuesday night, sorry. And
Tuesday night, beautiful.
Yeah, Tuesday night. The final round for the championship for the team's championship. So season 8. So the PS5 Tier 1 and Tier 2. So the Tier 1 will be broadcast, and it'd be good to round out the season, we'll round out the year.
Just good that console's back in a place where it can actually broadcast it again after significant issues for over a long time as well. So
very significant issues, and there's still plenty to it. But they've got their stability. There's been contact.
That's Sky.
On track here in qualifying. This has been a bit of an odd one.
Is he lost the back end for a moment? This is through Maggots and Beckett's. And okay.
He just lost that on his own, I think.
Yep. All right, that was Steve Sky who lost that. We're looking now at the Lexus. This is Lud Flores. So a minute and a half to go. But just to cap off our conversation, Tuesday night, RoozTV. Check it out on YouTube. Final race of the Console League for the year before we take a break and be back next year. Lud Flores currently P4 right now, 158.4. He's chasing a 157.7 right now. That's sitting with Gage Gonzalez with just a tick over 1 minute remaining. He's pushing nice and hard as he came out of Stowe there into the Vale chicane, hard braking area here. It's nice and smooth so far. So 158.4 is his best time. makes his way towards Abbey. Right-hander. Making his way through the loop now. Looks pretty good. Less than 30 seconds left in this qualifying session. Track's still fast. 23 degrees track temperature, 17 degrees air temperature. No weather to speak of, so we'll see how it looks for the race. But here's Flores. He's coming towards the end of his lap. He needs to improve by 1/100 of a second to take a next position up. That's I'm Not Jimmy, who's in the pit. So, and Flores goes into the pit, so finishes that one. Retro Coffin is the next one. He's just coming out of Stowe. He's currently sitting P3. The top 3 runners are all out on track. The clock has gone to 000. So Gage Gonzalez with the 57.7 flat is the best time so far. Retro Coffin out there. This is River De Nira. He is further up the track. Let's see, can he knock him off? No, he can't. So that lap doesn't improve his position at all. It doesn't go any quicker either. So he'll start from P2 for now. Only other car out there would be Retro Coffin. He's about 3.5 tenths up. This is Joshua Piasek.
Coffin's actually voided his lap.
Oh, sorry, my mistake then. No worries. Thank you, Joe. Where is Piasek on my P14? So he's down on his best time, which is a 2016. No, not a 2016. It is a 59.977. It's his best time. Let's see if he can improve on that. Clock has gone 000. It is a bit of a long lap, so he should be able to squeak this in without any dramas. Runs a little bit deep there at Brooklands. I think he's lost a fair bit of time there, so I don't think he's going to improve on his time. So looking like Piasek and his teammate Christopher Shuffler, they're going to start P14. There we go. So that is our grid set for the 3-hour enduro for PanAm Racing of Silverstone. So it's Gage Gonzalez putting it on pole position. Congratulations to him. River De Nira, he makes it a Honda 1-2. Retro Coffin, after last week's good form, he's there in 3rd. I'm Not Jimmy. Lud Flores, that's your top 5. Sherman, Sains, Olakowski in the BMW, Devine and Kenneth Smith. And then you've got Turner Johnson, Steve Sky, Eric Lloyd, Joshua Piasek, and Petrovics in P15 in the Mercedes. So that is the grid all set. We are ready to rock and roll. We're going to do 3 hours of Silverstone very, very shortly. But before we do that, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back very, very soon. All right, we are back, everyone. So they're on their warm-up lap right now after setting the grid in qualifying. So I'll give you a quick little rundown of the teams while they make their way down the Wellington Straight. But Gage Gonzalez and Matt Arantz is the team in the Honda there. For PanAm Racing is Stefano Barea and Carlos Rivadeneira. They're in the second Honda. Retro Coffin is racing with John Cannon this week, so he did race solo last week, but he's got John Cannon for company this week. I'm Not Jimmy and Brad Lee. They're a team that's been together for a little while. We'll see how they go today in fourth. Lud Flores and Curtis Ruston. They're sitting there in the Lexus today in P5. Andrew Sherman and Jeremy Eastcott. They're sharing the Porsche today. They're going to be starting from 6. Gustavo Sainz and Santiago Pena, they're in the Aston Martin there today. Conrad Olakowski and Sean Vincent, they're in the BMW. They're going to start from 8th. Kenneth Smith and Rodney Felker in that green Falcon Aston Martin. They're starting from 9th. Matt Devine and Nathan Wilson starting in the Audi 10th spot. And you've got Turner Johnson, Eric Lloyd. I'll go through the rest later, but we're coming around the final turn now. As we get the signal, we're going to get this one started. There it is. 3 hours of Silverstone starts right now. Looks like Andrew Sherman got a good start there as well. Jimmy has dropped back. Brad Lee, in fact, sorry, in the green pink Aston Martin. He's dropped back a little bit further, but Gonzalez is going to lead the way from Rivadeneira. Coffin got a good start as well. Looks like Sainz and Lee have both dropped spots. So has Devine, Turner Johnson, Piasek as well in the Aston Martin. Eric Lloyd has dropped down into 14th, a little bit further back. But they're all making their way along the Hangar Straight right now. Main thing is everyone has managed to get through without any dramas. So we haven't had any contact or any cars going around, which is a fantastic effort from everyone. We've got a nice controlled start, but it's Gonzalez leading the way from Rivadeneira, Coffin, Flores and Sherman. Olakowski looks like he's just made a position on Sainz there, so he takes up P6 for now. We've got Gonzalez leading the way as they go through Abbey, and that is Matt Devine at the back there. So I'm not too sure what's happened to him there. But he's going to drop all the way back down into the rear of the field. So him and Nathan Wilson, not a great start for those guys after qualifying a little bit further up than where they find themselves right now in P15. And this is how it happened. So I'm not too sure if he went around by himself there or maybe got a little bit of help. I couldn't quite make out. But none. Yeah. Yep. So he's gone around. So he'll plenty of time though to make up those positions. In the meantime, it's still Gonzalez opening up a little bit of a gap now. 7/10 already to Rivadeneira. And then you've got Coffin in there as well. As they've completed the first lap, first of many, I would assume. Go for 3 hours. Brad Lee is slowly drifted further and further back through the field, so he's currently P11 right now. Make that P12 as Eric Lloyd just slips through in the Lamborghini. Drops another one, P13, so I don't know if he's got he just got a bump from behind, and there's the end of it. So just right from the get-go he started positions, so not sure what's happened there, but here we go. This will give us a bit of this will give us an explanation of what happened. Yeah, and then didn't make contact there, and this is where it happened. This is a little bump from behind, and off he went. So not a great start for that pink Aston Martin. Him and Jimmy in there at the moment. But back out in front, it's Gonzalez leading the way from Rivadeneira. This is, we're having a look at Sainz here. Sainz and Olakowski. Aston Martin versus BMW. These boys are down in 6th and 7th right now. We've got the leaders on the left-hand side of the screen there. And we're just tracking P6 and P7 on the right-hand side of the screen there as well. These split-screen images coming to you courtesy of Joe, who's doing his absolute utmost best right now to bring us these beautiful pictures, this awesome production. So working hard in the background, just as hard as the guys on track right now. As Sainz, he might have had a little bit of a run on the BMW of Olakowski. They both run a little bit wide out of cops there. They're going to follow each other through the Beggar's complex, and Sainz just gets a little bit wrong there on the entry, and that drops him right out of the picture. He's going to have to keep an eye on Steve Sky behind him. He might just end up falling into the clutches off. He's got Steve Sky and Kenneth Smith in there, as well as Turner Johnson in the Mercedes. So that little trio in 8th, 9th and 10th, just trying to track down Olakowski and Sainz in P6 and P7. But in the embryonic stages of this one, it's Gonzalez from River de Nira, Coffin, Flores, and Sherman. That's your top 5. 2 Porsches in the top 5. Wasn't necessarily expecting that, but here we are, and we're tracking right now Kenneth Smith in that AMR PanAm Racing Aston Martin, very nicely turned out. The red and the black, Venom on the side. It's got Turner Johnson breathing down his neck right now. This is for 9th and 10th. Early pace right now is the 58s to 2 minutes for the lap around here. We've got into the 57s in qualifying, so nowhere near that pace as of yet. Track is at optimum right now, 17 degrees track temperature, 24 degrees air temperature, and that was just the spin on the right hand side. I think that was Petrovic's who did that, so he finds himself down in P15 right now. That's Mans, Petrovic's and Nate Roger who are sharing that Mercedes today. Back to this battle here right now. We've got Steve Sky on the screen. On the right hand side of the screen, that's Andrew Sherman, so he's in 5th right now. He's got Lud Flores in the Lexus just up ahead, who he's chasing down. So you can see that Lexus just briefly in the screen. Steve Sky, he's chasing down Gustavo Sainz in that Aston Martin. So a few Astons in the field for this one. 15 cars in total, 30 drivers approximately. So I don't think there's any solo drivers today in the field. Everyone is sharing a car. I love that aspect of it. I love it how it's a teams event. Sky now, very racy behind that Aston Martin, especially through this section of the track. Kenneth Smith just having a look there. Here's Andrew Sherman now on Lud Flores, trying to make the move. This is for 4th and 5th. Just ducks back into the slipstream of the Lexus in front. Doesn't quite have that horsepower to match the big V8 of the Lexus. We'll have to try and make up the ground through the more technical twisting parts of the circuit. Steve Sky and Gustavo Sainz still battling it out for 7th and 8th with Kenneth Smith for company down there in 9th position. Oh, that was Sainz, I think. Just on the Sherman on the right hand side. I was looking at the wrong screen, and then it just backs out there. Lud Flores And the action on the left-hand side of the screen with Steve Sky and Kenneth Smith tucked in behind him. So we've got, the action's pretty hot out there right now in the first opening 10 minutes of this one. Kenneth Smith just attempting to make a bit of a comeback. And then we've got action at the front too. So the two Hondas, Gage Gonzalez and River De Niro. That's on the right-hand side of the screen. On the left-hand side is Kenneth Smith. He's chasing down Steve Sky. But plenty of action to get this one started. So Gonzalez, River De Niro, Coffin, Sherman, Flores, and then Olakowski, Sains, Smith, and Johnson, who's gone off. Turner Johnson. So I think he's just gone off around Farm Curve, the left-hander. He was tracking in P11. Oh, and we've just caught the end of it on the replay there. So he just sideswiped the fence there. Hopefully that's not too much damage for him. And he should be able to continue on without having to pit in. In the meantime, we're back to Lud Flores and Andrew Sherman. Action's coming thick and fast right now. Last lap around for Sherman was a 59.6, 59.7 to Flores in the Lexus. You would think would have a bit of a pace advantage through this part of the track, especially through the fast right-hander of Cox. Whatever people like to call it. As Sherman runs a little bit wide through there, he's pushing as hard as he possibly can. Definitely have the advantage in this next section of Maggots and Beckett's. The exit, we've got Chapel. Got half a second between these two. It's less than half a second between Gonzalez and River De Niro at the front of the field as well. Plenty of close battles going on right now. We're looking at the closest of all of them though. Andrew Sherman sitting there in P4 as we click to the front of the pack. And that's River De Niro trying to put a move on Gage Gonzalez, and I believe he has done that. So moved into P1, River De Niro. Not updating on my timing screen for whatever reason. Still got Gonzalez sitting there in P1, but that's certainly not the case as you can see on the circuit right now. River De Niro certainly has the lead. This is how it was done. So that was done into the Vale chicane. And manages to squeeze through. Timing screen's updated now. So change of lead. River De Niro takes the lead away from Gage Gonzalez. In the very, very early stages of this one, as we get back to Andrew Sherman and Lud Flores. Sherman ducking out of the draft, just having a little look after Flores has managed to get past. Last time we saw him, he was behind the Porsche. They've swapped positions as we were just tracking the leaders who did swap. So River De Niro in the lead. His teammate Stefano Barrea will be pretty happy with that. He'll be watching on closely. As Sherman, now it's his turn to hunt down Flores in the Lexus. This has been great stuff. One thing I've certainly learnt about endurance racing, it's not the size of the grid, it's more the quality of the driving in the grid. So more cars doesn't necessarily mean better racing. And we've got 15 quality drivers out there on the circuit right now. We've got another 15 waiting patiently. Driver stints. What are the driver stints today, Joe? 48 minutes as per usual, I think.
That is correct, yes.
Yep. There we go.
It's a big slide for Gonzalez. So he's came up to the back of River De Niro.
We saw Gonzalez last week. He got the drive-through penalty in the beginning, copped the penalty. He had a couple more, I think at least one towards the end of the race. So it was a bit scrappy for him last week, but he's in P2 right now, so it's about a second the gap between him and River de Mira. In the meantime, we're back to this battle here. Andrew Sherman and Lud Flores. It looks like Flores has just managed to inch away ever so slightly, almost opening up a second gap. Sainz in the background there, just weaving about, trying to make his way past the BMW of Olakowski. As on the left-hand side of the screen, I do believe that is Steve Sky. On the left there, he's chasing down the two cars in front that you can see on the right-hand side of the screen. As that's Sainz ran a little bit wide, that's going to open up the door for Sky. Not quite enough, so wasn't enough to get the Porsche through, but certainly close that gap up right now. So Olakowski 6, Sainz 7, Steve Sky is in P8. That's where we're talking about in terms of the field right now. Those laps, saying the times for them: Olakowski 59.8, 59.2 to Sainz, and a 59.2 to Sky. So Olakowski in that purple BMW certainly had the advantage on the last time around, as Sainz is getting a little bit untidy through there at Vale. Comes out of club now, so Sky will be trying to just tuck in, get a bit of a toe to come through Abbey. Porsche obviously not known for its horsepower, doing its absolute best right now to try and keep up with Sainz in the Aston Martin. As they wind both their cars up, blast through Aintree, and then down the Wellington Straight. So you can see Olakowski there in the foreground. Sainz is tucked in behind him, and then Kenneth Smith, he's starting to creep up on the back of these guys. His last lap around was a 59.862. He will be looking to move his way a little bit further up as they come across the line to complete another lap. So out of the trio there, definitely Olakowski had about a half a second advantage over those guys, as did Kenneth Smith. He was actually the fastest out of all four cars there. So Kenneth Smith in the Aston Martin just taking advantage of a little bit of fresh air, trying to catch these three cars in front of them. Oh, and Sainz runs off, runs wide. That was through Chapel. We've seen him have a little bit, we've seen him have trouble on the previous lap as well through there. So just proving to be a bit of a challenge for him at this stage. And on the left-hand side of the screen, it looks like it's Joshua Piasek, I believe. No, it isn't. It is Matt Devine. Sorry, my mistake. Getting mixed up with the liveries there. So these two just coming through club now. Piasek, teammate of Nathan Wilson, battling it out with Turner Johnson, who looks like he's managed to just get past there in the Mercedes. So he takes a position away from Devine, and it's down there in 11th and 12th right now. So those boys have got a bit of work to do, move themselves further up the field. In the meantime, on the right hand side of the screen, you've got Olakowski in that purple BMW still leading the way from these guys. He's in 6th, Sainz 7th, Steve Sky 8th, Kenneth Smith 9th. So these four cars have been together for a little bit already. Almost 20 minutes into this one. And racing's really settled into a really nice rhythm now. We haven't had any major incidents, which is really good. Spinners and everyone's still circulating with no issues. Pretty backed up in terms of about sort of where Retro Coffin, Flores, from about third to about ninth. It's pretty condensed. Out in front, the leader of this one, as we're watching Sainz and Olakowski going to swap positions. Sainz just sending it down the inside. Olakowski trying to battle back. Steve Sky now. He wants to get a piece of this. They come into Vale. Kenneth Smith just sitting back there as well. He's ready to pick up any scraps that might fall his way. Steve Sky forcing the issue, going up the inside through Woodcote. Now it's going to be a drag race up into Copsey. He's managed to get it done. So Olakowski, he loses a couple of positions. Kenneth Smith wants to make it 3 positions. Olakowski's going to do his best to prevent that. Runs a little bit deep. That was coming through farm into village. And Kenneth Smith was almost able to take advantage of that. But Olakowski in that purple BMW, he loses 2 spots to Sainz and Steve Sky, who's all over the back of Sainz. That was Brad Lee just being lapped already in this one. And now Steve Sky hunting down the Aston Martin once again of Gustavo Sainz. So Olakowski has got his work cut out for him now. Sending that Porsche now just through Cops. So nice little bit of action happening there, some good driving, no contact in any of that, which is what we've come to expect from PanAm Racing, high quality stuff. But yeah, the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th heating up. Andrew Sherman trying to make a bit of ground on Lud Flores there in 4th and 5th. But out in front, River De Niro doing a fantastic job, keeping Gonzalez at bay. 2.5 seconds is the gap. Retro Coffin just sort of in a bit of a race of his own right now. He'd be a little bit lonely, but I don't think he'll be necessarily minding that in the final podium position for P3. As we go to the left of screen again, this is Devine and Johnson. So these two swap positions a couple of times. They're down there in 11th and 12th right now on the right hand of the screen. Kenneth Smith starting to catch the back of Olakowski in the BMW. In terms of lap times, Johnson last lap around a 2-minute 3:57. It's a 2-minute 2:55 to Devine. So very, very similar lap times between those two. Kenneth Smith is showing good pace, 2-minute 4. Faster by a considerable amount that last time around on Olakowski. He's been pretty consistent in those 2 minutes right now as well, Smith. So we'll see if he can put that pace advantage to good use. Here's Steve Sky on the right hand side of the screen. We're going to go full screen with this. He's chasing down Gustavo Sainz. For 6th and 7th right now. Weather's still fantastic. 24 degrees track temperature, 17 degrees air. Track is at optimum. Just having a look at on the left hand side of the screen. We're looking back from Sainz. Steve Sky. Porsche. I like the look of that Porsche as well. The fluoro yellow and the white on there as well, or fluoro green, whatever you want to call it. This quartet of cars together for a little while now. In 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. Eric Lloyd, Lamborghini. He's a little bit off these guys. He's about 6 seconds behind them right now, so he'll be able to try and make up a little bit of that margin. He's been lapping in the 2-minute 3s. So we'll see if he can catch Steve Sky. His last lap around was a 59.8. The man he's chasing was a 2-minute 1. So a couple of tenths the difference. That's about the gap right now between these two as they head along well into straight. As we approach the first half an hour of this one, 48-minute mark, we'll see should see a flurry of pit stops. Not long before then with the driver swaps. As Sky looking to go around the outside, that's the long way around. Out of Vale, now through Club. Olakowski looking to get a run here as well. Have a look at this action, this is good stuff. File through Cox Corner. And now through the Maggots Beckett's Chapel Complex, one of the most famous corners, famous piece of tarmac in all the motor racing throughout the world. Definitely a driver's special, this one. Most people enjoy this track, especially in these conditions. It's absolutely perfect out there, so I'll be enjoying themselves right now. Sky just trying to hang with the Aston Martin right now of Gustavo Sainz. So lap times, Sainz 2:07. He was 200ths of a second faster than Steve Sky on that previous lap. Olakowski, he was about a 10th faster than Kenneth Smith. So both cars that are being chased in this quartet of cars hold the pace advantage. Steve Sky just probing, having a look here and there, trying to set up Sainz, just work out when he's going to be able to slip that Porsche past him. In terms of positions as well, Steve Sky, he's had a fantastic start. So qualified the car in P13. So he's up 6. Sainz runs wide. Seen that happen a couple of times. Can Sky take the advantage this time around? I don't think he can. So remains behind the Aston Martin. Again. And I think it's going to be a little bit of patience required from Steve Sky here. Certainly showing plenty of patience right now. The wheels on the grass there. So we've seen him have a couple of tricky entries to Maggots and Beckett's a few laps ago. But no dramas this time around. I'll remain static for now. Rivadeneira still leads this one out front. The gap between him and Gage Gonzalez is just a tick over 3.5 seconds. Rivadeneira is running about 2/10 faster than Gonzalez right now. Bertrand Coffin all by himself there in third position as well. Blood flow is just a couple of seconds behind Coffin, so to make up the gap there, they're circulating in very similar times as well. And we see Sainz just getting his 2 left-hand wheels on the side of the grass, and I think this time it has cost him. It's cost him a position. Sky. Oh, that's really unfortunate that happened. That was really good stuff until then. Yeah. So just a little tap, but Sky made the move, working his way past. Just a little bit of contact there, and there's so Sainz is readdressing that, so he's doing the right thing. So good sportsmanship there from Gustavo Sainz. Redressed on the track, and these two will have to reset. So Sainz dropped down into P12, Steve Sky down into P11. So all of that hard work that he'd done, he'd moved up 6 positions. He's He's lost 4 of them. So he's still higher than where he started, but yeah, lower than where he wants to be right now. In the meantime, the other battle on the track that's nice and close is for 3rd, 4th and 5th. So these guys, what's happened to you? Dropped another couple of spots. Not too sure, down there in 14th. But yeah, this is for podium spot right now. A long way away from having final decisions made on podiums at this stage. But right now, Retro Coffin sitting in P3. He's 9.4 seconds behind Gonzalez, who's sitting there in 2nd. But Lud Flores and Andrew Sherman, oh, he's just come unstuck there. That was out of Abbey into Farm Curve. It was pretty close to Flores, but that's been taken away now. He's made that little mistake, and he's got a lot further back. So this is with Lud Flores and Retro Coffin, last week's race winner at the Hungaro Ring. And his good form has continued right now. So he's sitting in P3. Lud Flores in P4. Let's see what lap times they do. Last round, Flores had a distinct advantage. Coffin does a 59.3 and Flores does a 59.152. So a couple of tenths the difference. In advantage Flores. Keep that up. The gap is 1.1 seconds right now. He'll close that up pretty rapidly. Another little battle we've got on track right now is 6 and 7. So Olakowski and Kenneth Smith, they're scrapping it out right now. Porsche versus Lexus. Kind of opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to horsepower between these two. Here we go. Here's Kenneth Smith and Olakowski. Gap's half a second between these two. Olakowski lapped at 2 minute 5.62. Last lap around. Kenneth Smith was a 59.9, so he held the pace advantage on that previous lap. In that AMR Venom Racing Aston Martin, red and black. Oh, that's Steve Sky. Who almost goes around. So after that little coming together with Sainz, he's kind of just struggled to regather himself a little bit right now. So he finds himself in P14. That was one spot below where he qualified the car. A couple of witness marks on both sides of that car. So not having a great time of it right now. Kenneth Smith though, he's on the other end. He's enjoying himself. He started P9. Olakowski started in P8. So these two have worked their way up the field together. And find them Olakowski in P6, Kenneth Smith P7 as they cross the line. Olakowski 2 minute 3.27, Kenneth Smith a 2 minute 4.20. So slight advantage to Olakowski on that last lap. But this is one of the closest battles we have on track. Now that we've been tracking, Retro Coffin and Lud Flores seem to have closed up the gap a little bit there as well. So that's fair. We've got battles for 3rd and 4th, 6th and 7th. Gap out in front though, River De Niro. He's our race leader. He's sitting in P1. He's about 4.2 seconds up the road from Gage Gonzalez. As we've got the battle for P3 and P4 now. Lud Flores on the right-hand side of the screen, Retro Coffin on the left-hand side. This is Lexus versus Porsche. Going through Farm Curve. Now into this tricky little complex. Out of Village into the loop. one of the very few circuits that every corner has a name. Track still optimum, 24 degrees. Air temperature 17. 0 wind, no weather incoming. We've already gone half an hour. And the 48-minute mark, that's the driver's stint. So we should see pit stops starting to happen around that sort of 40-odd minute mark. Get all the driver swaps happening. Every car has a two-man team in it. This round, no solo drivers. Retro Coffin, he was a solo driver last week. Gage Gonzalez, I think, was a solo driver as well. But they've all got teammates this week. Gage Gonzalez, Matt Arantz, Retro Coffin, he's with John Cannon. The man on screen right now, Lud Flores, he partnered with Curtis Ruston. We'll see how Ruston goes once he gets his chance to jump in the car. But in the meantime, Lud Flores is going to do his best to hunt down Retro Coffin, who's just up ahead. Lap times around previous, a 59.570 to Coffin, a 59.435 to Flores. And then on the left-hand side of the screen, we've got all the action covered right now. This is Olakowski, Kenneth Smith. They're down in 6th and 7th. Where did you start, Olakowski? You started in P8. Yeah, I said that before. Kenneth Smith was just behind him. So those two doing quite well in the very early stages of this 3-hour enduro. It's the last PanAm race we're going to do for this year. Got one more to go for Roos on Tuesday night. That's the Console League. That's the season finale. I'm going to have a little bit of a break for Christmas and New Year's. Back next year in 2023. So got almost 2.5 hours to go in this one. Flores, does he circulate in this time around? Retro Coffin does a 59.682. Flores is a 2-minute 2:10. And then Olakowski. Oh, look at the reaction in the chat there. I haven't even seen that yet. I'll get to that in a moment. And then Olakowski, he did 2-minute 5:32. Kenneth Smith was a 2-minute 5:50. So very, very close. Who do we have in there? Danville. In there, fast Matt W, P12, let's go, keep pushing forward, pass it already, Sains, Helva Berea, let's go 777, Rivadinera demoralising the opposition. I don't know if he's demoralising, he's rapid, like he's the fastest car around the circuit right now, by a fair way, I have to say. A 58.825 was his last lap. A 59.612 was Gage Gonzalez. Rivadinera's fastest lap is a 1:58.307. That's a 10th faster than Gage Gonzalez at 58.407. So, yeah, the pace is pretty hot at the front there. See how that all pans out. Long way to go in this one. Probably the most overused phrase in all of motor racing. A long way to go, especially for enduros. Matt Devine though, so he had the early issue, got spun around, ended up being pretty much stone last, and is now in P9. One spot up from where he qualified with Nathan Wilson. So those guys have worked their way back nicely. He's all over the back of Eric Lloyd right now. But Eric Lloyd partnered with Chris Rice. Love that livery on the Lamborghini. Looks cracking. So does the Audi, to be fair. Not too sure what it says on the... it's the International Treaty of Racing. I think that's a new addition to the Audi livery. As they're making their way through Maggots, then Beckett's. Out through Chapel as well. And we've got on the... there we go. So, yeah, I wonder if that's new, that International Treaty of Racing, or whatever it is. There we go. What's that? Yeah, International Treaty of Racing. So, that looks like it's a new edition. Great camera work being brought to you by Joe. It's not easy to do that. Get that right in the middle of doing everything else. He's juggling a lot of balls right now in the air. Doing a fantastic job as always. This is Gustavo Sain, so he was involved in the battle with Steve Sky. Robin Pagard. Could there be a penalty for the Saints car? I'm not too sure. I don't think we have live stewarding.
If there is, it'll be post-race.
Yeah.
There won't be any live stewarding in this one. So, PanAm doesn't have a redress rule like Race on Oz. So, it is... Look, drivers are told just to continue on, and that any issues will be sorted out post-race. A little bit different to what we're kind of used to, but be interesting to see. It'll all be post-race.
Yeah, and you were talking through that, Joe, and letting us all know Sainz took a spot, but then lost it again to Turner Johnson. So he'll remain down there in P11. And then in the meantime, about 10 seconds up the road from him, Matt Devine and Eric Lloyd continue to battle it out for 9th and 10th there. They're the two closest battles on the track. And we should start to see some driver swaps coming up in the next 5 to 8 minutes. As we're 41 minutes into this one, and it's a 48-minute driver stint. We'll start to see a bit of activity in pit lane, and we'll get all the drivers. We might get some double stinters. We had two guys last week in the McLaren. They both, someone did the first two stints, and then the third and fourth was held by the Richardson, I think was the name. It was a red McLaren, not racing today. So we'll see what transpires in about 7 or 8 minutes. In the meantime, though, Devine is chasing down Eric Lloyd. So last lap around for Devine, as he has a little bit of a look there into Village. Devine did a 2-minute 9. Eric Lloyd was a 2-minute 7.70. A little bit of an advantage to Eric Lloyd, but not by much. It's an Audi versus Lamborghini battle. As he's falling through. He's down there, going through Luffield now. That long right-hander. Feels like it just goes forever. Just wants to get the power on. Keeping it nice and tight. Shortest way around the track. This time around, Eric Lloyd did a 2-minute 2:01.025. Devine about a 10th faster on that last one. So able to make up a little bit of ground, but not quite enough. In this case, you'd even think that ducking into the pits might be a good option for him as well. We'll have to wait and see. You want to keep those stint times as close to max as possible. This has been a good one so far. We've got we've got Sainz and Steve Sky close to one another again, but Steve Sky might have dropped down a lap at this stage as Petrovic comes into the pit. So our first driver to come into the pits is Petrovic. We'll see if he hands over to Nate Roger, who's his teammate. I think there might be a little bit of damage to repair, maybe, on that Mercedes. So we'll see how their stop transpires. In the meantime, we'll stick to the action on the track. Matt Devine chasing down Eric Lloyd. And that beautifully presented Lamborghini, the Zalus Motorsports Lamborghini. I believe what the lap times are very, very shortly. There's Petrovic still in the pits, and that's where these two boys are going now. So they've decided, yep. Interesting to see that Devine followed him in.
It's an odd one.
Yeah. I would have thought it'd be an opportunity. Oh, he's actually overtaken him in the pits there as well. I was just stuck with that. It's interesting. In the meantime, Lud Flores on the right-hand side of the screen in the Lexus. He continues to battle away. He's chasing down Retro Coffin in P3. He's got Andrew Sherman in fourth behind him as we've got the left-hand side of the screen. Got a few cars in the pits. Kenneth Smith, Matt Devine, Eric Lloyd, Gustavo Sainz, Turner Johnson. Once they get out of there, those names, some of those names may disappear, some of those names may stay. The driver swaps are in full effect. Every car has a two-man team. So we'll see what names pop up on the screen as that's Devine, who was in the car. He's just behind Kenneth Smith. So he was behind Eric Lloyd. And he's managed to jump him in the pit. So Devine managed to get past Lloyd. We'll see once the timing screen sorts itself out. Eric Lloyd got a stop-go penalty. So he's got a stop-go 30-second penalty next to his name. So that would be for speeding in the pits, you'd have to think. And that's not a good result for him. And yeah, Chris Rise is in the car now. So that's the name on the timing screen. And there's another pit lane. Joshua Piasic has picked up a stop-go penalty as well. So car number 44 down there in 12th position. His teammate is Rodney Felker, I do believe. Double check that. No, it's Christopher Shuffler, sorry, my mistake. So, yeah, there are two stop-go penalties. Chris Rise and Joshua Piasic for speeding in the pit lane. Now here's Rivadeneira. Pit stop. He's made his stop. Yeah, he's stopped. The river car's stopped except Gage Gonzalez. So Gage Gonzalez continued to circulate.
He's got 49 seconds to cross the pit entry line before his drive stint expires. So,
this is going to be super tight.
It's tighter than you'd like, but I think he should still do it, provided he gets through this last corner without any dramas and into pit lane.
Cutting it as fine as you possibly can, and he's done it with about 17, 18 seconds to spare. So he gets in just, and he will be handing the car over possibly to Stefano Borrea, potentially. Have to wait and see the timing screen gives us. Now Rivadeneira, he's just coming through farm curve now, so we'll keep an eye on him. What was his pit stop? Total pit stop time, a minute 15. So it was relatively slow compared to Cannon, Ruston, Eastcott, Vincent, Falca. They were all a minute two. Was it a minute 15? So I wonder if there was a potential issue there, possibly. Not too sure. As Eastcott, he's in the car. He's a new driver in there. Vincent, Falca, Pena, Lee.
River de Janeiro did have a very long stop.
Yeah.
But I crossed to him, and it seemed as though he slowed right down and almost stopped on the entry to pit lane. I'm not too sure what had happened, so I don't think it was the time actually in his pit box. It was the time trying to get to there that caused that difference. Unless he was going slow at that moment in pit lane because he'd made contact with the wall. So they've lost a position. So they've lost a position out of that pit stop cycle.
Yeah, so spot on. So Matt Arantz is in the car now. Their total pit stop time was 59 seconds, him and Gage Gonzalez. Car was stopped for 32 of it. River de Janeiro was a minute 15, and the car was stopped for 41 seconds total. So you're absolutely spot on the money, Joe. Something has happened there, and I think your explanation gives us a pretty clear indication of exactly what's happened there.
Just while you're there, I just want to bring your attention to that other thing that's going on today. It's worth a bit of a look at the moment. I'll take over for the next little bit of commentary.
Oh, I'm keeping up with it. I'm all over it
good.
right now. Yeah.
We're broadcasting to the northern hemisphere, so they probably have absolutely zero interest in that other thing that's going on. But being in the southern hemisphere and being in Australia right now, it's actually a little bit exciting. But this battle between Devine and Falca now is continuing on. It's a good comeback by Devine after that contact and spin on the opening lap, and he's kept his head down. These guys are catching Vincent ahead of them. There's 4.5 seconds in there with that purple BMW. We've got further down the field, we've got I'm Not Jimmy's in the car. They're a lap down after lots of dramas on the first lap for them, which is very unfortunate.
Brad Lee had straight from the get-go, he just fell back all the way to the rear of the field. We saw him have that little incident. Speaking of sports, though, for the Northern Hemisphere sports fans, there's plenty of action if you're a football aficionado. It's been happening Saturday special today. That's probably where my interest lies more right now, Joe. I'm not going to lie. I'm on the cricket, but I'm also very keenly watching the football right now. We've got a cracker of a game going on. But we won't talk about that. We'll talk about the race.
It's a great day for sport, isn't it, really?
It's awesome. It's really good, yeah.
I very much enjoy this time of year. You're winding down work for the year, and there's sport on just about every hour of the day, and from all over the world, and it's very entertaining. So,
good time.
Sorry, Robin, we weren't able to show the exit for Gonzalez. So, accidentally switched off the engine.
So that makes sense, because what you were explaining, how he was going slowly. So that makes perfect sense. All right. Well, we've had plenty of driver changes. So Matt Arantz is a new driver in there. John Cannon looks like he's double stinting. Ruston's in there. Eastcott, Vincent, Falca. Devine is double stinting to begin this one. It's on the right-hand side of the screen. That's Eastcott. Pena as well. He's jumped into the Aston Martin. Lee is in there. Chris Rice for Eric Lloyd. Looks like Petrovic's is double stinting. Shuffler's new in there. Stu Skinner, he's in for Steve Sky. And I'm not Jimmy, but we're watching Jeremy Eastcott. This is, Matt Devine and Rodney Felker. So Devine just taking that position back from Felker. They're in 7th and 8th, those two. So Felker, the fresh new driver. Devine, he's double stinting to begin this one. Nathan Wilson will jump in the car, no doubt, for the following two stints, or at least one of them anyway. But they're down there in 7th and 8th right now. So that's good. That closes the circle on that one in terms of we know what happened to River De Niro now, who did stay in the car. So his teammate of Stefano Barea, he's just still sitting on the sidelines there, so he'll jump in more than likely on the next stint. But yeah, car switched off, so hence why they were 15 seconds longer than Gage Gonzalez and Matt Arantz, who's in the car now. As Eastcott, he is all over the back of Ruston right now. So these two cars have been joined at the hip for the most of the race. It was Lud Flores who was in there previously, and Andrew Sherman in the Porsche. Now it's the co-drivers that are in there. Yeah, pretty tight. Let's have a look at lap times. He's got 2:02.560 and 2 minutes. Ruston was a 2:02.497. Eastcott was a 2:02.560. So slight advantage to Ruston on that one. We are getting very, very close to finishing out the first hour of this one.
So we joke about the speed of the Porsche not quite being up to it, or not, the top speed not quite being there compared to some of the others. The difference in top speed between the Lexus and the Porsches of Cannon and Eastcott, there is 7 kilometres difference in the top speed, in the fastest top speed in this one. So it gives you an idea about where the Porsche is losing out.
Yeah, and the Lexus is the fastest of all, 251. The Audi and the Aston are up there as well, and Mercedes too. So, yeah, I guess it's the Porsche is not necessarily what's known for is the Lexus. He's just running a little bit wide through there. That was through the loop. So that was Ruston just losing out there to Eastcott, who manages to slip through into P3 for now. So Ruston just got on the outside there. What have we got? Just want to say you guys do an awesome job. Hey, thanks Retro Coffin. You do a pretty good job racing, to be fair. So thank you very much. What else, Robin? Also, they planned to make a driver swap, but it didn't work. That caused even more confusion and therefore the delay. So this is more around River De Niro, so we're getting some updates there. Who else is in there? Master Racing, let's go. 144 Shuffler. There you go, get that Lexus. Alright, so Retro Coffin, if he's not driving, he's watching and commenting. But thank you to Robin Pigardi. I'm not too sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You're keeping us very well informed and updated, so much appreciated. Thank you so much for your input. So that's given us a pretty clear picture of what exactly has happened in that round of pit stop. So when it goes wrong, when it rains, it pours for those guys at the moment, but find themselves in P2, 5.3 seconds down the road from Matt Arantz. We're looking at Matt Devine, who finds himself in P2. Sean Vinson, he has jumped into the BMW for Olakowski. So having a good run of it right now. Those boys in P6 for believe the team name is Sleepy, with lots of Y's on the end. But they're looking pretty good right now. Sean Vincent, this is kind of like his signature colour as well. Often drives a Aston Martin in a very similar looking shade of purple. Usually a little bit of red in there as well. But yeah, that's a good point that you made, Joe. A very well-informed point as well around the speed differences. I guess that goes to show how good of a job Canon and Retro Coffin are doing, and Eastcott for that matter. You know, those Porsches are up there in third and fourth, considering the speed disparity between those two. So good effort from those guys. As that was Felker, I think, just running a little bit wide in the background of the shot. Sean Vincent sitting there in P6 right now. So we are about to hit the 1 hour mark. And so far it's been a good one. We've had a couple of little twists and turns in the story of this one already in the first hour. But mainly it's gone off event free. So we haven't had any major incidents to speak of. We had that little collision there with Steve Sky and Gustav Sainz. So, but other than that, it's been pretty well. I'm Not Jimmy down there in P15, so him and Brad Lee haven't had a great start to this one. Davina and Wilson racing down Vincent right now in the BMW. Two. I'll get that up in a moment. Yeah, so Vincent 249, 1 kilometre difference between him and Devine. So much of a advantage to speak of right now. Go through the right-hander of Abbey, through Farm. This is the right-hander of Village. Oh, he's going to send it up the inside there at the loop. Vincent runs a little bit wide. I wonder if he got a little bit spooked there from Devine. And then it's, so Vincent just ran a little bit wide there out of the loop onto Aintree. And that was all Devine needed to sneak through. And that green Aston Martin, that's Shuffler, so he's down there in P13, so he's lap traffic right now. That's not for position, so Vincent will hold on to P7. The red Aston Martin behind, though, that's Rodney Falco. That is for position, so Vincent has a little bit of a buffer right now between him and Falco, but he'll be wanting to try and regroup himself and get back in contention up there with Devine, who I have to say, they're having a great race so far. So started P10, dropped all the way back down to the rear of the field, and now find themselves in P6. So Nathan Wilson will be jumping into that car for the next stint. The race as it stands, just a tick over 1 hour, is Matt Morantz and Gage Gonzalez. They're leading the way from Carlos Rivadeneira. John Cannon there in third in the Porsche. Eastcott fourth. Fifth. Sixth is Devine. Seventh is Vincent. Eighth is Falcon. Ninth is Pena. And Lee is in there in P10 right now. Board here with Carlos Rivadeneira. And I reckon I'll stop talking for a lap and we can just check him out doing his thing and how he's going about. was a lap of Silverstone, and that time was a 1:58.760. Matt Morantz in a 1:59.740 on that previous lap. And we can see Honda of Rivadeneira chasing him down ever so closely. So the gap between them is a second right now and closing. So the pace from Rivadeneira, we've seen it been pretty hot all race. And he's continuing on right now. So Matt Morantz, a pretty big job on his hands to keep Rivadeneira behind him at this early stage. Tipped over the 1 hour mark, so we're almost a third of the race off. 2/3 still to go on this one. Sean Vincent in the pits as well, so I wonder what that's about. That will certainly be unscheduled right now. He's only just gotten in the car. He's getting a drive-through penalty, that's why he's in there. So he's picked up a penalty along the way. And serving his drive-through penalty right now. That's put him down further through the field and dropped down into P10. So he's served that. He's all done. And in the meantime, Rivadeneira is chasing down Morantz. That gap is at a second right now between the two Hondas. It's a pair of Hondas. It's a pair of Porsches that fill the first 4 positions. Throw a Lexus in there. You've got the top 5 of Morantz, Rivadeneira, Cannon, Eastcott, and Ruston. Right now, we're on board with P2. Came into the pits in P1, had issues, car switched off. Lost a bunch of time in the pits, about 15 odd seconds. And that was enough to allow the team of Gage Gonzalez and Matt Morantz. Gonzalez was in the car at the time. Morantz took over, jumped out into the lead unexpectedly, and then Rivadeneira has slowly chipped away at it. Couldn't do the driver swap, sorry. So his teammate of Stefano Morea couldn't jump in, so rather stinting from Rivadeneira, and to be fair, it's all working out pretty well right now. They're in P2, the gap is less than a second to the leader. Pretty good for them right now. Sean Vincent served that penalty, that drive-through penalty, dropped him down into P10. As we go a little bit further back, McDevine is still battling it out with Ruston down there in 56 right now. So those two guys continue to find out. Devine double stinting. Ruston, who jumped in the car for blood Flores as well. So it's a bit of an idea of where we're at right now. And immediate right here, right now, they're on board with Carlos Rivadeneira. Down Matt Morantz. The gap is well under a second now, so 7/10 with Ruston there, so he moves up a spot into P5. Those boys having a pretty good run of it right now. At lap times as they file past, closer on the last laps, and this time around it's about half a second is the advantage to Rivadeneira. 59.192 to Morantz and 58.7 flat to Rivadeneira, so significant pace advantage at this stage. Half a second is the gap. Matt Morantz is going to have to pull out a bit of pace here to keep the hard charging Rivadeneira behind him. Be worth as well, just not conceding, but I wouldn't be battling it too hard at this stage. Just under 2 hours remaining, plenty of time to go. We're almost halfway, so 21 minutes about that right now. race is shaping up quite nicely. Got some good battles throughout the field. Closest is the best. It's out front. P1 and P2. Closing right up, moving in the area, so there's a sense of inevitability about this one as they go through Aintree, up the Wellington Straight. In terms of pace, very, very similar. 249, the top speed for a Rance, 248. River de Nera, top speed of the race. That's Ruston, 251 in the speed trap. On to the Lexus. And continues to follow through. Last lap around a 59.202 to Arance at 59.135. You can see the lap times in the bottom right hand side of the screen. So Arance just pulling out a little bit more pace on that one, but not quite able to match it. 4/10 is the gap, but you don't need me to tell you what the gap is. You can see it right there for yourself on the screen as they head along down the Hanger Straight into the fast right-hander of Stowe. Awesome corner to drive. And the short, sharp blast down into the Vale chicane. See plenty of overtaking through here. So it'll be interesting to see where River de Nera wants to pick his spot. Definitely has a pace advantage, so just patience and pick his spot and he wants to go past. Obviously Matt Arance will have a lot to say about that. We're not going to ride him off. Doing a good job. So that pace on the last lap was a lot closer to where he needs to be than what it was the previous one. No dramas out of Aintree that time. And Arance doing a good job right now of holding him off. Sure his teammate Gage Gonzalez would be watching on. And the teammate of River de Nera is Stefano Barea. I'll be watching on with eagerness to see how this transpires as they're about the halfway through their driver stint for now. Last lap around a 59.402 to Arance, a 59.147 to River de Nera. Thanks, Adrian Wilson. Who else could only attack P2 in L1 chicane, and then the Honda took off. That's Retro Coffin. AJS must have been unhappier with that Lexus behind than within 1 second either side. Oh, the Lexus 6 seconds behind than within 1 second either side. So from AJS in the chat. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Hey, show us a bit of love. What about a bit of Christmas cheer? Throw us a like if you haven't subscribed. First question is, why not? There's awesome stuff on the channel. But if you haven't, just hit that little button there that says subscribe. Helps out the channel, and plenty of action on the RoozTV YouTube channel, console, PC, all happening. So Arance doing his best to fend off River de Nera. They're heading along Wellington Straight again. Field a little bit stretched out now, so after that round of pit stops, it's managed to spread the field out a little bit. This week we saw kind of the opposite at the Hungaro Ring, where it was rather condensed throughout and traffic was a little bit of an issue, but no such issues on a much longer 5.89 kilometre Silverstone circuit. Much more conducive to overtaking as well. In saying that though, the racing last week was pretty good. It was a lot of fun, a lot of action. That last hour was, action-packed in fact. Bit of drama there at the end with penalties and whatnot. Retro Coffin managing to come out on top. Last lap around, a 59.1 to Arance, a 59.322 to Rivadeneira. So he's starting to be a little bit held up here. Has a little look, has a little jink out to the right-hand side there. Maybe just he's being so close, just riding in that dirty air. He'll be wanting to make his way past sooner rather than later. This is for the battle of P1 and P2. Third is John Cannon. Then you've got Eastcott, Devine, Ruston, and Felker. And Felker is all over the back of Ruston right now, so that's another little scrap that's brewing in P6 and P7. But we got all eyes on the action out in front. This is what you want to see, the battle for the lead. And Ruston just having a sneaky little, not Ruston, Rivadeneira. Just a sneaky little look up the inside. Oh, Arance has run wide out of Aintree. I don't think that really would have cost him much time there. So lucky for him that that part of the track does help facilitate. If you do run off wide there, you're not going to be held up too much. So gets away with it there. See if that affects his lap time around this time. He was faster on the previous lap. I don't think he'll be faster this time around. He's not. So they both lap in the 2 minutes. A 2:06 to Arance, a 2:03 to Rivadeneira. He got away with it there, Arance. That was a lucky little let off for him. Lucks of fortune. He holds on to the lead. This is great stuff. This is great driving from Arance. Seen the pace of Rivadeneira. He's been rapid all race. Just be picking his mark for now. Who else behind there? Felker and Ruston. That's another one that's starting to just percolate a little bit, bubble along. Down there in 6th and 7th. Where's Rivadeneira? Where's he? Trying to see. So looks like Sector 1 is where Rivadeneira has the advantage over Arance. And they're pretty even through Sector 2, Sector 3. So Rivadeneira just needs to find a little bit of pace in Sector 2, Sector 3 if he wants to make an overtake or take advantage in that first sector, which he will be fast approaching shortly. Arance runs a little deep, but still pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, this Sector 1, Rivadeneira will know that's where he has a bit of an advantage. Their Sector 1 times on that previous lap were actually identical to each other, 35.790. And their Sector 3 times were identical as well. I'm not too sure if that's a timing glitch, but Sector 1 and Sector 3 times were absolutely mirror images of each other. And their lap time, a 59.932 to Arance, a 59.970. So this is good stuff from Matt Arance. He's showing his class. He is legitimately holding up Rivadeneira right now. So he's driving brilliantly. And when I say holding him up, I mean keeping him behind. You know, he is driving very nicely right now. I say that with all sincerity. Take it as a compliment, please. That's the way it was supposed to be. go through club towards the right-hander of Abbey. And now we're starting to see a little bit of that body language from the car. River De Niro seems like he's growing a little bit more frustrated as the laps continue on. We've got some more stuff going on in the chat there. Robin Retrikoff, I imagine the gap 777 would have, yeah, if he didn't lose 15 seconds in the pits. Yeah. I wouldn't say he's being held up. Matt Arance is, this is a scrap. This is a legitimate battle for the lead right now. AJS, why is the Honda nowhere like this in the real world? Too short. So last laps around on that one. A 2-minute 1:42 to Arance. A 2-minute 3:22 to River De Niro. And once again, the advantage was in sector 1 to River De Niro, but Matt Arance held advantage over the next 2 sectors. This is great stuff. This is for the lead. We're not far away from the halfway mark of this one. So just a tick under 9 minutes, in fact. We'll broach the halfway mark. In terms of stint timers, we're still at 15.5 minutes, and there it is. Oh, I make a little bit of contact. He was going around the outside of Stowe. That was River De Niro. And a little bit of contact with Arance afterwards. River De Niro just came to a stationary stop there. Not too sure what was happening with that. Maybe the car did switch off in the meantime. But he didn't go around, which is very, very fortunate. But he's dropped way back now from Arance. So unfortunately, that did end up with a little bit of contact. You could sense that there was frustration building from River De Niro. Rightfully slow. He definitely had the pace. Just couldn't find his way past Arance, and a little bit of contact. So the good news out of that, though, he didn't spin all the way around. Did come to a complete stop, though. So lost a bunch of time, and the gap's at about 10.5 seconds as it stands right now. So an unfortunate end to what was proving to be a very, very intriguing battle between P1 and P2, the two Hondas. So I'm sure we'll see River De Niro will come back again on that one. And I'm sure we'll see him battling back for the lead once again. So that pit, the driver's stint, still about 14 odd minutes away from being open again for these guys, or closing off and being open for the next drivers to jump in. In the meantime, though, we're having a look at Rodney Falker and Ruston. That's Curtis Ruston. This is for 6th and 7th. So Ruston has been lapping in the Lexus. They just go through Brooklands there. So Ruston's been lapping 2/10 slower than Falker on that previous lap. See how they go this time around. I love the Hugo Boss logo on the front of that Asset. It's cool. And the Venom on the side there as well. So Ruston on that last lap did a 2:02.130. Falker did a 2:02.142. So not much of an advantage on that one, as Santiago Pena, he's entering the pits. That is well within the stint limit. Let's see what he is on. 37 minutes and 58 seconds. So not too sure what that's about. That's an early stop. We'll see if I think Sainz is his teammate. See if he jumps in the car, but he's in the pits for now. In the meantime, though, the battle between these two, Curtis Ruston, put Lexus to the solar plexus. I like that team name. The solar plexus. Got him right in the breadbasket. That's a bit of old school Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon stuff there. For any wrestling fans, old school wrestling fans. I like it. To the solar plexus. That's awesome. Might be a WWE fan. Curtis Ruston. Good stuff. And he's got Felker all over him. So Felker's teammate Kenneth Smith did a really good job there in the first stint. And Lud Flores also was able to hold it down in the Lexus, teammate of Curtis Ruston in the first stint too. So they've dropped one position, so they started P5, currently P6. Felker started P9, so up into P7. So a good start from Felker. Ruston obviously dropped a spot, but still to be where they are right now at the almost the halfway mark. Looking good this stage. So we've had a couple of penalties throughout the race, but nothing too dramatic. And things are looking good. This has been entertaining. We've had some nice little scraps. Oh, we got one going on right now. And they almost made a little bit of contact between these two. It's going to be a drag race down the hanger straight. Up the inside, it's Ruston. Felker looking to go the long way around. That's around the outside. Is he able to hang on to it? I think he is. He's going to have the optimal line into the Vale chicane. This is Ruston making a fight back. Felker runs deep. Couple of little mistakes from both drivers there. But looks like Felker has managed to complete that move. So nice work from him. He moves that AMR PanAm Racing up into P6. And good stuff from both drivers. No contact there. A good clean pass. And now Ruston will just have to settle in. Focus in on that rear wing of Felker and try to get that place back before he comes into the pits and he hands it over. And we'll have to wait and see until that happens. In the meantime, up there in P5, it's Matt Devine. He's all over the back of Eastcott right now. So the team of Matt Devine and Nathan Wilson chasing down Jeremy Eastcott, who's the teammate of Andrew Sherman today in the Porsche. He'll be watching on with eager eyes, seeing how his teammates holding it together for him. In terms of speeds, as we pointed out before, 244 kilometers is where the Porsche tops out, and the Audi is about 250 kilometers. And you saw a perfect example of the difference in speed between the two cars just then, as Matt Devine sent it up the inside, and he takes P4. So after starting in P10, dropping all the way down to the rear of the field, they find themselves now in P4. So this has got a little bit of Eric Lloyd and Chris Rice from last week. Those boys pulled off something similar. And Matt Devine and Nathan Wilson, who's yet to jump into the car. So it's all been Devine so far. Wilson's got a bit to live up to once he gets his chance behind the wheel to put his best foot forward. But Matt Devine looking to hand this over in the best shape possible. Apparently P4, and one of the fastest cars out on circuit. So on that last lap, was the only car to lap in the 59s, a 59.8. So fastest car on circuit is the Audi. And these boys might dare to dream of a possible podium today, as River De Niro has a second go at the pit stop. So we're in the 40s right now in terms of driver stint limits. So this is going to be the moment of truth right now for Rivadeneira. Do we have any dramas, or will it be drama-free? They'll be hoping that is free of any issues. Where is my pit stop data? And that was a good one. 1:03 total time, 36 seconds stationary. So that is way more on par. And Berea is in the car as we get the notification that we are at the halfway mark. So the double stint by Rivadeneira has helped put Stefano Berea in a good position. He's come out in P5, but he's got the cars ahead of him who will need to pit. But the main thing is no dramas that time around. That went much more to plan for those guys. In the meantime, it has elevated Matt Devine up into P3. Obviously, it needs to make his pit stop. Christopher Shuffler making his stop, so he's handed over the car to Joshua Piasek. Down in 14th right now as Stu Skinner. He's coming in. We'll see if he hands that Porsche back to Steve Sky or not. They're down in 15th, unfortunately. After tracking quite high, they were right up there in the pointier end of the field earlier on. But they're that little coming together with the car 25 Aston Martin when Gustavo Sainz was in there. So in the meantime, Matt Morantz, he is currently leading this one. We'll have to wait for his stop to come through, but Devine is in, Eastcott is in the pits, Petrovics. So the end of the stint limit is fast approaching. Matt Morantz is at 43 minutes right now. So he's got an additional 5 minutes before that stint limit expires. That's been a pretty fast 48 minutes, I have to say. Obviously, there was a little bit of action in there with him and Rivadeneira earlier on, but see what happens with that. Post-race, we can only talk about what's happening right here, right now. Falca, Devine, Ruston, Eastcott, Lee, Vincent, Petrovics are all in the pits right now. And we've got, oh no, Matt Devine. Stop-go penalty, Petrovics. He gets a stop-go penalty as well. So both drivers for speeding in the pit lane. That is a real kick in the guts for Matt Devine, who is out of the car. Nathan Wilson is in there, and he starts it off with a stop-go penalty, 30 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. And Petrovics, he picks up the same as well. So, oh, there's another one. Ruston speeding in the pit lane. So 3 stop-go penalties right now. Nathan Wilson in 4th, Ruston in 7th. And Roger, that's his first stint as well. He's the teammate of Petrovics. So 3 stop-go penalties on the board right now. And we're in the back half of this race now. So although there is an hour and a half still to go, that can go by pretty quick. So John Cannon in the pits too, pitting from P2. Berea in the other Honda. He'll slip through there. He'll take home, he'll take on P2 as they swap positions now. And these guys were doing so great. They were doing so fantastic. Oh, we've got a drive-through for track limit. Steve Sky, he just took over from Stu Skinner, and he picks up a drive-through penalty for track limits. So the spate of pit stops has we've got 4 penalties on the board right now. Stop-go penalty, Nathan Wilson.
Just want to bring you to the attention that the pit entry board is missing. So people are struggling to pull the car up in time, and just, it is hard to see that white line. So it's why there's been that spate of penalties.
Right,
Someone
look at
has
that.
taken out that pit board. It happened recently. It happened in the Roos PC League here, where that sign was taken out, and there was a large number of pit entry breaches.
So do you know, as we see the Lexus, do you know where it normally is, Joe? Is it at the end of that red coping fence?
I thought it was, but I will have a look at a replay from earlier in the race and see where that board actually is supposed to be.
All right, great. Good spot. That's a very eagle-eyed spot. So drive-through penalty, Piasic, Sky. They need to serve them, and looks like everyone else is served except Ruston for the stop-go. 30-second penalty. So no pit board is causing all sorts of confusion, and that's not going to change either. So that we might see that continue on as Steve Sky, I'm just watching him on another screen here, make his way into the pits to serve his drive-through penalty. Piasic will have to do the same shortly, and Ruston to serve his 30-second penalty as well. I think that he's doing that right now, and away he goes. So yeah, they were him and Lud Flores were running quite high as well, but they've dropped down there into P10. So yeah, it's amazing. One little sign missing and chaos ensues. Sort of like when people take out braking markers as well, you know. You lose your braking marker and then you got to find something new. Yeah, so what we got here? Michael Lee is down there in P7 right now. He is newly in the car. He's got Kenneth Smith. This is fourth position right here. So 6th and 7th. So we've had 2 rounds of pit stops now. Retro Coffin back in the car. Sherman in there. I'm not Jimmy. Slowly working his way up the grid into 12th position now. 13th. Oh, he's in the pits. Why is he in the pits? It's an odd one. I didn't see a penalty next to his name. Interesting. Stays in the car as well. So, yeah, odd one. For I'm not Jimmy. So, down there in 14th right now. Back to the action on the screen. So, Michael Lee for the ZR boys. Chasing down Kenneth Smith. Last lap around for these two. Smith. Oh, here we go.
Pit board sits at that white line, just past the end of the orange or red Armco, and yeah, that's been taken out.
That is, I'm very impressed that you spotted that, Jared. I'm very impressed. So, good stuff. I guess we've got on the stream now, so we can let everyone know what the where it's supposed to be. The line is the speed limit. Speed limit cut off. So hopefully everyone gets the message, and we don't see any more pit lane speeding infringements. In the meantime, though, Lee trying to hunt down the Aston Martin of Kenneth Smith. So Smith does a 1:59.720. Lee does a 59.772. So slight advantage to Smith on that previous lap. Looking at speed comparisons, nothing splitting the difference. So they're both topping out at 250 kilometers in the speed trap. In saying that, though, that looks like Smith just got a bad run out of Beckett's and Chapel, and that has allowed Michael Lee to walk through and take away P6 from Kenneth Smith. So just made a slight mistake, and that's all it took. And that allowed Michael Lee just to head through. And he's now in 6th position. He's 11 seconds up the road from Santiago Pena. He's there in 5th in the Aston Martin. So he's got a lot of work to do right now. He'll have to try and keep Smith behind him as well, obviously. But that pace was very, very similar between those two. So we might see a repeat of what we saw earlier with cars being tied close together. Eric Lloyd is back in the car. He's down there in 11th. That's another battle that's starting to brew away down there in 10th and 11th. As we're watching Andrew Sherman, he is in P4 right now. This is even more exciting. This is for P3, the two Porsches going at it. Two PanAm Racing Porsches, in fact, as Lloyd ends up getting through on Ruston. But we're looking at Andrew Sherman from the right-hand side of the screen. We've got the helicopter shot as they're coming down the hangar straight through the fast right-hander Stowe. And these two going at it right now. Retro Coffin sitting in P4. He just lost that position to Andrew Sherman, who now occupies P3, last week's race winner. Get on the podium again, but Andrew Sherman got that overtake done. He now occupies the final third step of the podium right now, and we've got less than half of the race left. So an hour and 18 minutes with a little bit of change. 78 minutes, that will fly by in no time, as has the previous hour and 42 minutes in this one. But it's Gonzalez leading the way. We haven't sort of really spoken too much about the leaders. Gonzalez back in the car. His last lap around was a 58.360. So he's right on the pace again. Barea right behind him though, a 58.487. So definitely in the same stratosphere, if you like, as Gonzalez. And this is the battle for P3. So Sherman and Coffin, 1.1 seconds the gap between those two. Pena, he's 21 seconds back from this battle. 10 seconds further behind him is Lee. And then you got Kenneth Smith, who just lost that position to Lee. So he's about a second behind him in 7th. Olakowski's back in the car. He's in 8th. Nathan Wilson, who will probably run all the way till the end, given Devine did the first two stints. He's in 9th. Eric Lloyd is 10th, and it's Rustin, Piasek, Roger, Jimmy, Sky is 15 total cars in the field today. 30 drivers overall, so pretty healthy for a Northern Hemisphere Saturday night. What if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, Australia even? Late, well, mid-afternoon, 3 o'clock, 3:10 to be exact right now. We've got some good action on the track. So last lap around to Sherman, 159.7. Coffin was a 201.280, hence the loss of position there. Now that Lexus going through, that is not for position. That's Curtis Ruston. He's down there in 11th, so he's a lap car. We'll see some blue flags waving from the marshals shortly. We saw plenty of blue flags last week, and the flashing of the lights as well from Coffin. We saw him do that last week too, and Ruston moves out of the way. It's Coffin through. 1.7 seconds is the gap now between Sherman and Coffin for P3. This is good stuff. So I'll keep you occupied. We'll keep you updated with the battle out in front of Gonzalez and Barea. Their trading times right now. So that last lap of 58.6 to a 58.3 to Berea. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays itself out. Judging by the pattern already of the pit stops, I dare say Arantz will be in the car again, and we're going to see if Berea does a double stint, hands it back over again. We'll have to wait and see. We're a long way from that. These guys have only just got in to start their stint. See how that all plays out once we get around to it. This is Kenneth Smith now, down in P7. Is in the Aston Martin. He's chasing down Michael Lee right now. Lap time comparison. Lee did a 59.932. Kenneth Smith did a 59.617. So 0.3 the difference in favour of Smith. Aston Martin versus Mercedes. Come through fast right-hander of Abbey. Turn 11. To this little complex of village, the Loop and Aintree. And I feel kind of, it is a little bit spread out. We've got 194. Who's 194? Steve Sky. So a little bit of traffic. Oh, drive through for track limits. I'm not Jimmy. That pink Aston Martin just never really had a chance to get going today. It didn't start well, and it has just continued to not go well for him. So he's just picked up that drive-through penalty. We've seen a couple of cars now for track limits. And yeah, we'll see if that does continue on. So he'll have to serve that shortly. In the meantime, though, we will continue to track this battle on track. Shots here. This camera using all of the clipping the little sausage curve there on the inside left. Blue Buckfield and Woodcote. No, they're not. Great truck to drive. So much fun. So free flowing. I always hear people talking so glowingly about this circuit as well. Sort of in the same breath as the Spas and Suzukas. Free flowing fast as well. It's now one of the fastest parts off the track. Down the Wellington Straight. I think it was the Wellington Straight. Remember that early 2000s? Where was racing in Jaguar, I think. The guy jumped out on the track and wearing one crazy outfit. Interesting things to do. A little off there, down there at 14. Essentially up and running. So Smith just ever so slowly dropped it back from Lee now. Last lap around of 59.7 to Lee. 2 minutes, over a second slower. It was last lap there. side of the screen now. Retro Coffin in P4. We saw him lose a spot to Sherman earlier on, so he's managed to claw his way back there within striking distance. I don't know if he's got someone called a doctor in this livery like he did this week. Tucked in behind Sherman. Advantage on that last one, hence why we probably see him in the position that we do. Yeah, over a second right now between these two Porsches. That Lamborghini that you see in the background, that belongs to Eric Lloyd. That car, he's down there on 10 right now. He's nearly a minute behind Nathan Wilson. Kenneth Ruston about 6.5 seconds down the road. So that's where he stands right now. And we are closing in on the end of the second hour of this one. A 3-hour enduro. We're having a look down there in P13. This is Nate Roger. This is 4th position. All over the back of Joshua Piasek. I like the way this car's presented, the green and the black. Big fan of green. Underused colour, very calming colour apparently, green. As Roger, he's not very calm right now. He's trying to head around the outside of Stone. Able to get it done. My attention was taken somewhere else momentarily. I do apologise, but he manages to get that move done and moves himself up now into P11. Does he? No, sorry. I've got him P12 on my timing screen. So I don't know what's happening there. But anyway, this is Nate Rogers. In the background, that is Berea. So that's P2. And this is Nate Roger in P12. What happened to Piasek? I'm not too sure. Anyway, that's where they stand right now. This is Retro Coffin back to him. Gap is close to under a second right now. Last lap around from Sherman was a 59.597. Retro Coffin was a 59.860. On board with Retro on the right hand side, and then you got the helicopter, which is being brought to you by Joe, as always. Background to bring you every bit of the action on the circuit. See what the lap times are. They head towards the line. Does a 59.460, Retro Coffin does a 59 flat, so he's on a bit of a charge here, Coffin.
what it looks like from the aerial view. He's doing in the cockpit on the right hand side of the screen there. This week's race winner, they're in contention again this week. He is pushing very, very hard right now. Using all of the track coming out of Stowe, hustling the car through Vale. Trying to really balance that being on the limit but not over it. Through Abbey once again. Got the full screen now going on. The driver's eye. This is what Retro's seeing. Giving us clear insight into exactly what he is doing behind the wheel. No real pace advantage that we need to speak of when it comes to both Porsches. Top down at 244. I'll just double check that. Yeah, 244 kilometers is the fastest these two topped out in the speed trap today. How it translates into lap times. Sherman 59.362 to a 59.510. So going back and forth between these two here. Good little scrap between Sherman and Coffin. Having a look at stint limits. They're about the halfway mark of their stint limit. So they'll be well and truly settled in by this stage. Right in the rhythm. Nice and focused. So Retro Coffin, the teammate of John Cannon. Andrew Sherman, the teammate of Jeremy Eastcott. Still 20 odd minutes in race. The next round of pit stops and driver swaps. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Gonzalez and Arantz. Will Arantz jump into the car again, or will Gonzalez take it to the end? Same with Raya and Ruben Amiro. Amiro double stinted. It wasn't necessarily intentional to do that. Speaking for Raya, he's in P2 right now, so 7.8 seconds is the gap between P1 and P2 while we're watching P3 and P4. So we know what the gap is between there. In terms of the lap times, nice lap around, we have 59.087 degrees status at the front. We're keeping an eye. We've been looking at these guys for a little while. It's been captivating racing. Let's see what Sherman does this time around. 59.5 to a 59.240. So Coffin, his turn to go a little bit faster. Enthralling stuff right now. They're the closest cars on the circuit. Less than a second covering them right now. Let's have a look at, there's been some rises and falls. Oh, and hang on, no, let's forget that. Retro Coffin now. Got a good run out of Chapel and good enough to send it down the inside at Stowe. And nice move from him. He's able to get that done. Can Sherman fight back into Vale? I don't think he can. So nice work there from last week's race winner, Retro Coffin. He puts his Porsche up into third place. And now Andrew Sherman is going to have to fight back. See if he can take that away from him. But great job from Retro. P3 did it solo last week, has a teammate this week. We'll also see around strategy. 48 minutes is the stint time, but yeah, we see people just take advantage and get in there as soon as they possibly can. It's going to be the other part of the strategy that we'll see unfold. And Andrew Sherman not able to make too much ground up on Retro Coffin, and he was 2.5 tenths faster on the previous lap. So Retro feeling nice and comfortable in that car at the moment. It wasn't the fastest car on the circuit. That was Gage Gonzalez, the 58.905. So they head across the line. This will give us an indication again. And yeah, Retro Coffin a couple of tenths faster on that last lap, but it looks as he's gone off somewhere. He has. He's gone off at Stowe. So after all of that hard work to get himself up into P3, he's run wide at Cop. He's run wide at the right-hander after doing all of the hard work, and that was not to the plan that he wanted to do. So unfortunate for him. Oh, what was that a little bit of contact from behind you? I couldn't quite
No, there was
see
no
that.
contact from behind.
No,
it was on his own, that one. Just got a tank slapper and just chucked him in the fence. It's big contact. He's got 10 minutes before they can repair that damage and go to the end with the final stint. So it's very unfortunate timing to have that incident occur.
I'm just having a look at him now. Will that affect the performance of the car? The bonnet is flapping around a bit. Yeah, so usually a pretty clear sign that it's relatively serious damage. Yeah, I'm having a look at that bonnet view and I can see it, flapping around. So that's not a good sign from Retro. Yeah, still 10 minutes away from, as you pointed out, from being able to hand it over to his teammate, which is John Cannon. Andrew Sherman, though, Lux of Fortune. He was right there with him as well. So, we saw someone last week have something similar at Hungaroring. It was like that real just sharp turn into the fence. So
yeah, a bit of a slide and then trying to correct it. The car drips up again and just takes off in the direction you got the wheel pointing. Yeah, as you've tried to overcorrect. So it's unfortunate. It was a good battle, that one.
Alright, so he drops down into fourth. He's got Pena still a ways behind him though, so still 19 seconds down the road. So it won't come under any immediate pressure just yet. We'll have to wait and see though. See if that damage is enough to affect him. Looks alright. Well, that last lap around obviously is not a true indicator because he had the off. This lap will give us a bit more of an idea. Doesn't seem too bad. He's got Steve Sky tucked in behind him, a fellow Porsche driver. That is a lap car. He's currently sitting in P15 right now, Steve Sky. Just wasn't really able to recover after that earlier incident with Gaines, with Gustavo Sainz. So we got there in the end. Having a look now at Berea, Stefano Berea. Sitting P2, lap around for him, 59.817. 58.885 to Gonzalez. So about a second the difference in pace that last lap around. So maybe a mistake somewhere along the line. I'm not too sure if it's traffic or not, but sitting 1.5 seconds closer to that opening of the window for the final drive stint. 7 minutes away, in fact. Track conditions have remained optimum pretty much throughout, so it's 25 degrees track temperature, 18 degrees air temperature, so it's gone up a couple of degrees if anything, and remains perfect conditions throughout. So we're into the final hour of this one. Played itself out quite nicely, and I think once the final round of pit stops happen, it's going to bring a bit more excitement towards the end of this one, but it's going to be a case of Gabe Gonzalez hold on. 30 minutes now. This is to Raya is at 35, but I don't think that's necessarily going to be applicable in this case. It's more that's the 8-minute market that opens it up. Because everyone can't much to do whatever they want to do. So that would be the magic number. We'll wait for this stage. In the meantime, though, we'll stick to watching this man here. This is the photo for Raya. Does hold the fastest lap of the race, this car. Not too sure if it's set by Ray's teammate, 165. He's got everything under control. Now we saw his teammate do a fantastic job. Now we're on to open up proceedings, and he's certainly picked it up and continued on with very similar pace to what was being run in this car. So good driver pairing between these two. Had this scrap with Arant, had that little bit of contact. I think that was out of Stowe, so yeah, dropped him back into P2. I'm not Jimmy. His teammate Brad Lee today started the race and fell down the order, so they started in P4 and it was looking really good for him, but I think the story of the race for car number 69 is Brad Lee started to drop back through the field. I'm not too sure what had happened with him, but he had his issues and continued to fall back, and those guys find themselves in P14 right now with 50 odd minutes remaining. Yeah, not liking their chances right now. So tough day at the office. Be happy to see the back of this one. In less than an hour, they've had 4 stops today. Them and Piasic, he's had 4 as well. Roger's only had 3. He's up 3 spots. Qualified P15, currently sitting in P12. Look at lap time. Oh, sorry, go.
The stop-go penalty for these guys was brutal. They had some dramas early on where they made contact with the fence, and it's just another tough day at the office.
And what, South African batsmen are having a very tough day at the office right now.
Oh yes. Although our viewers might not really know too much about cricket, but it's another enthralling battle, this one, as well as the racing.
We're going to get 2 days, unfortunately, so... Oh well, this one is... Tell you what, for our North American viewers though, if you get yourself in front of a TV, there's an absolutely cracking battle going on right now between Miami and Buffalo. 2 minutes left, the scores are tied. The fantasy team's doing quite well today, I'm not going to lie, so... But we got both Northern and Southern Hemisphere stuff going on right now, but the thing that we're most concerned about is the racing. And speaking of racing, this man here, Eric Lloyd, he's in P10 right now. So where did they start with him and Chris Rise? They started in 12th. So not a bad day at the office for them, but I guess it's not as good as last week. Last week finished up in P4, going for that top 5 finish. It was looking what Nathan Wilson and his teammate were going to try and pull off today, Matt Devine. But yeah, speaking of stop-go penalties and whatnot, yeah, they copped it pretty bad. That speeding in pit lane because the speed limit mark got knocked out. So yeah, but consolation prize, I'm going to give it to Eric Lloyd and Chris Rice for the best livery of the day. So whatever that's worth. Looks bloody great. It looks so awesome. I love it. Like a bit of like a comic book kind of vibe about it. I'm not too sure what the Zaloos means. Zaloos Motorsports, but I don't know if it's their team name. That's not an in-game livery, surely not, Joe.
Surely not, but it looks bloody good, that's for sure.
Yeah, looks awesome. So they're circulating P10 right now for those guys. Here we go, we're 30 seconds away from the 48-minute mark. I think that's what we've really been hanging out for. Santiago Pena, interestingly, is in the pits right now. So that means that they would need to pit again. They're not going to be able to make it till the end. I wonder what's happened there. I wonder if they've miscalculated somehow, but let's see, stint timer, yeah, and clicks over again. Oh, they've just missed out by 3 seconds. Oh no, I wonder if they were really close to it as well. They're going to have to pit again. So they're currently sitting P9. And they will have to pit again, otherwise they'll breach the stint timer. So possibly a miscalculation there. And let's see if this does kick off a flurry of activity in the pits. Looking at stint timers.
Well, technically, you probably can't get to the end of the race until there's about less than 46 minutes left if it's race time plus 1 lap. So to be careful,
yeah, that's true.
You really need to wait till the 46-minute mark.
Yes, good thinking. I didn't think about that. Okay, now that's a very, very... It's just been full of good observations today, Joe. The pit board and all sorts of stuff. You're all over it. Yeah.
I think I should broadcast and add special comments.
What you do? That's what you do to me.
I know. It's just we're just being it's all good.
Yeah.
Just sitting back and enjoying everything that's going on today. Very much so.
I'm with you now. I'm with you. I'm a bit slow on the uptake. I'm with you now. Yes, very good. Retro Coffin's in. So stationary in the pits, stopped out of P3, so that damage didn't seem to slow him down, which is good, and he's already underway. Relatively long stop though, so minute 14. Obviously had that damage to repair, but looks like that's all taken care of, and John Cannon is in the car. Here's Barrea, Stefano Barrea. Sorry, he's in the car right now. So stationary, they've been stationary for 45 seconds now. So we'll see if his teammate decides to hop in as well. This is Gustavo Sainz, so he's back in there. And let's see, Barrea is going to do the stint to the end. Yes, so he's still in the car. They've done the double stint each. That definitely wasn't the plan from what we could tell from the chat. And now Gustavo all over the back of John Cannon in the Porsche, who just jumped in for a retro coffin. They go through Abbey again. Tick under 45 minutes now remaining in this one. And well and truly in that window, as Joe pointed out, the time plus 1 lap. Kenneth Ruston in the Lexus makes his way into the pits. Lexus to the Solar Plexus team. Definitely my favourite team name, that's for sure. We'll see if his teammate Lud Flores decides to jump in the car as well, as we're watching Gustavo Sainz all over the back of John Cannon in the Porsche. We had a 6 or 7 kilometre speed difference between these two, the Aston and the Porsche. Trying to put that to full effect right now. Can he go around the outside at Cops? No, he can't. Ruston makes the stop, hands it over to Flores, who's coming out of the pit. And they're going to go single file through Maggots and Beckett's. Can he get a good run here out of Chapel? I think he can. Ducks into the slipstream, ducks out. Goes under the bridge. Probably he got a little bit too closer than what he wanted to do there. Just a little jink to the left. And able to pull it back into line and get the pass done. So Gustavo Sainz in P7 drops John Cannon back into P8 for now. But nice work from him. Good stuff. Eric Lloyd, he's in the pits now as well, as is Steve Sky. See if they hand over to their co-drivers very shortly. Look at the timer. Maureen for Gustavo. Yeah, he's going to just miss it, unfortunately. So, see what they decide to do. In the meantime, Olakowski is back in the car, so in the BMW. Those guys have done pretty well today, him and Vincent, despite the penalty that they received as well. So they're up there in P6 right now in that purple BMW. They've had a good day. They started 8th. Sainz, they started 7th and are currently sitting in P7. And who's Chairman's in the pits. So will he hand over to Eastcott? We're going to wait and see as Berea goes through. And Gage Gonzalez is at 43 minutes right now in his stint. The maximum 48 available to him. So he's going to have to make his way. Michael Lee, he's in the pits in the Mercedes. Goes. He's off now. So Jeremy Eastcott is in the car now. Takes over for Andrew Sherman. And they're going to remain in P3. Smith is in. Lee's coming in now. Olakowski, he's in there as well. So I probably spoke a little bit too soon about him and Vincent. We'll see if Vincent gets in the car. Kenneth Smith, Michael Lee. We'll see if they do driver swaps as well. Gage Gonzalez, he cut it really close last time. 44 minutes now. Looks like Turner Johnson is in the car now. See if Kenneth Smith swaps over to Rodney Felker. Let's see, keep you posted on that one. The Sainz has moved up into P4 now, so that miscalculation is really going to cost him big time here. With less than 40 minutes left, you don't know what's still to come. They cost themselves a potential podium at this stage. Rodney Falco, he's in the car now. 45 minutes for Gage Gonzalez. He's coming down the Wellington straight, so he's been lapping sub 2 minutes. This is John Cannon on your screen. He's in P6 right now. He's got Turner Johnson just ahead of him in P5. Gage Gonzalez is going to go around again. He has 2.5 minutes left on his stint time. He's at 45 minutes and 43 seconds right now. He's been lapping in just under 2 minutes a lap. This is going to be super close for him.
Yes, Retro Coffin, we do believe that Sainz will need another pit stop because he has 38 minutes left on his stint timer. And if you go off the race time plus 1 lap, I don't think he's going to have time to finish the race.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. Yeah, that's where it stands. So more what we're looking at right now, though, is we're looking for Gage Gonzalez. Is he going to be able to get in before the end of his timer? Or is he going to find himself in a little bit of trouble? Stefano Beret, he's going to be driving the other Honda all the way to the end. Currently sitting in P2 right now. We're looking at John Cannon. He's chasing down Turner Johnson in P5, who recently took over from Michael Lee. And Gage Gonzalez has 1 minute. 1 minute left on the timer. He's heading down the Wellington straight now. I think he's going to time this to perfection once again. We saw him do this on the first stint. I think he's going to be able to pull it off.
Yes, Retro Coffin, they were out by a few seconds from crossing the line, but that's the time to the end of the race. And if you take into account the extra 2 minutes for the extra 1 lap, which may put a little bit of pressure on your own car, if you add the extra 2 minutes. So you guys could be in a little bit of trouble time-wise as well. Might want to check your calcs on that one. Although I'm 90% sure that's how it works. I'm pretty sure the stint time is through to the end of the race, not necessarily the stint time, the race time. So yeah, race time plus 1 lap.
All right, we're going to have some late race drama. Gonzalez is in. He's in the pits. We'll see if he hands over to Matt Morantz or if he stays in the car for the final 36 odd minutes left in this one. Here is Correa. He's coming through Blufffield just now. Gonzalez still stationary. And here goes. So 1:03 was the total pit stop time. And it's going to be pretty close as well at the front. So Barea is just heading through Cops now. And he's going to be able to see him. There we go. So
We got a legitimate race on our hands. Gonzalez stayed in the car. Barea stayed in the car. So both these guys are going to be in the rhythm, and they've got 35 minutes to race until the very end. Eastcott there in P3 as well, and we might have some more. We might have some late race drama in terms of the timers as well. I'm sure there'll be plenty of drivers out there right now crunching the numbers on the calculators, working out have they timed it to perfection, or are they going to be in a bit of trouble. Flores is in a bit of trouble. Out of Abbey there, that manages to stay off the fence, so he's not long in the car after taking over. Stu Skinner, follow suit down there in 15th. So a couple of little excursions for those guys. 2.8 seconds, 2.7 is the difference between Matt. Also, Matt Arantz did go in. I thought Gage Gonzalez stayed in the car. My apologies. Oh, this is even more spicy then. This is good. This is going to be a race to the very end. Barea and Arantz. Barea stayed in. Arantz is new in. Did see him have an issue, I think, last week just after he got in, just getting that used to being back in the car again. This is going to be good stuff. 2.3 seconds is the gap, so 33.5 minutes remaining in this one. It's Arantz, Barea, Eastcott, Sainz, Johnson, top 5, Cannon, Felker, Vincent, Wilson, Rice. That's at your top 10, and we got Flores, Roger, Shuffler, Lee's back in the car, and Stu Skinner is in the Porsche as well, down in 15th position to get lapped by Barea. We've got some side-by-side action on the left, Matt Arantz, on the right, Barea. These guys, hard at work. 2 seconds now is the gap between Arantz and Barea. It's coming down. We missed out on the opportunity for a bit of a grandstand finish last week. Let's see if we'll be able to make up for it this week. So having a look at some lap traffic that's up ahead of them. Arantz has got a couple of cars. He's got 99. Bradley. So that's Felker. And they have car 14 Flores up ahead as well. So traffic not going to be as much of an issue, and hasn't been as much of an issue as it was last week at the Hungaroring. Advantage if he can get a little bit of a tow. Number 7, Jared. Gap of 1.4 seconds between Arantz and Barea. Coming down rapidly. Lap times previous 59.6 to Arantz and 58.635 to Barea. So a second advantage. Barea just flashing the lights. Get that car out of the way, which is 99. That's Felker who does. Moves out of the way nicely. He lets Barea through. Side by side. Yep. So away from the Honda, obviously.
tell you what the gap is anymore. You can see it for yourselves right there. Stefano Barea just dangling there ahead. He's chasing it down. It's in the form of Matt Arantz. We've already seen these two have a good little scrap earlier on. Did end up with a little bit of contact. We'll be hoping that doesn't happen again. And that can be avoided and we get a nice clean run to the very end. Which is not far away. We are in the final half an hour of this one. This is the 3-hour enduro for PanAm around Silverstone. You've been enjoying the stream. I've certainly enjoyed it. We've had some good racing today. Hasn't been action-packed, but we've had enough, I reckon. It's been quite enjoyable to watch, actually. And we have got a battle for the lead. 2.5 hours after we started. Arantz is going to have to defend for his life to keep Barea behind him. Times are difference 59.1 to Arantz on that last one, and 58.6 to Barea, so he has the advantage. See how that gap is closing up ever closer now. Back from the Honda of Arantz, the onboard of Barea. Let's see what he sees. You can see a potential win right there in front of him, a matter of meters away. Doesn't need to rush it. Time's definitely on his side here. So, patience game again. Pick his mark. Way through if he can. Seen how good Arantz can defend. He's going to have to muster up all possible skill that he has to keep Barea behind him. Come through Buckfield. Gives an indication of pace once again. 58.885 to Arantz. 58.567 to Barea. So big of a gap as it was earlier. Still 3/10 the difference between these two. Arantz is going to have to find a little bit more pace if he wants to keep that Honda behind him. Yeah. Closing right up now, all over the back of him. Got a Lexus just up ahead. That's Flood Flores. He's the lap car right now. And after that, it's all right. John Cannon will be the next one. He's in P6. So it just shows how far ahead these guys are right now. Been the class in the field for 2 Hondas. Eastcote is about a minute 8 away from these two here, so he's in third there in the Porsche. Sainz is in fourth in the Aston Martin, 33 seconds behind him, but we suspect he will need to pit again. So he might have just come in a little bit too early for their pit stop. May need to pit again. We're going to have to wait and see how that one goes. We're not going to miss a second of this action between Matt Arantz and Stefano Barea. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I've been pronouncing it this one already like that. So it's got the lights on, not flashing yet. Oh, a contact again between these two. This time it's Barea to Arantz. And fortunately neither driver went around, and it's play on. Oh, man, these two just been a bit of a magnet for each other today. Every time they get close, there's a little bit of contact. It would be third time's a charm. Gonna have to wait and see here. Times that one around 2:01.775 to Barea, 6:22 to Sorry, a 775 to Morant, stuck 622 to Barrea. This is where they made contact earlier in the race. Red's car's pushing, using all of the track available to them out of Stowe into Vale. Will just be trying to keep that pressure turned up to 10. Force a mistake from Lawrence. Lawrence is going to have to be full concentration here. 24.5 minutes left in this one. This is the battle for the lead. We've gone over 2.5 hours of racing, and this is where we stand right now. This is great stuff. It's been nice and close between these two all race. Giving him a little bit of a nudge there, a little bit of Morse code from coming through. Eastcott still is over a minute away, so they could possibly have third wrapped up, Eastcott and Andrew Sherman. Now, speak of that, sort of the yellow mark looks like his name. They should be fine for the time as well. Okay. Again. High pressure driving now. Mark, pick his spot. Get the Stowe. Having a look. That's a pretty good run out of there. It's good enough to have a go at him. Into Vale. Going to go around the outside. And he'll have the inside line for the next corner. And he's done it. So Barrea, with 22 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, has put that Honda into P1, just trying to break the toe as they go into Abbey. And nice driving from both drivers there, but nicely executed pass from Barrea. He now moves into P1. So he and Carlos Rivadeneira both occupying P1 right now. Matt Morantz sitting there in P2. His teammate Gage Gonzalez will be watching along eagerly. What can Morantz do now? He's going to have to respond here. See what the lap times are. Morantz had the advantage that last time around, funnily enough, but Barrea was able to execute the pass nonetheless. He currently sits in P1, a 59.8 to him, a 201.1 to Arett. So a little bit of salt in the wound there that he was faster on that previous lap, and he's in the lead, so that's where they want to be. Not going to have any dramas with stint times either, so they're well within the tolerance. So Gustavo Sainz and Santiago Pena, they're at 27 minutes right now. Oh, mate. They are going to be absolutely on the limit. Sainz and Pena, I'm not too sure if they're going to make it. Retro Coffin and John Cannon are going to be pretty close as well, depending on where the cars are on track around that final lap, how much extra time we're going to need. So could have a little bit of drama from P4 and P6. Everyone else seems to be all right. So definitely the top three are in no dramas whatsoever. They'll be fine. But fourth be up for another pit stop.
Turner Johnson and Michael Lee. Geez, that'd be a good story for those guys too. So they started P11. And we got drive-through. Drive-through cleared, 912. Who was that? Oh, Eastcott. I didn't even see that. There's Sains now. And 912. Okay, so they were able to clear that. My apologies. I didn't pick that up along the way. So the Sains is still 7.4 seconds away. But yeah, back to Turner Johnson. They started P11, currently occupying P5. Sains, they started P7. And Eastcott, they started P6. That's been a large rise. I know I'm really... Flores, they dropped 6 positions, currently sitting P11, began the race in P5, and Bradley and Jimmy, they started the race in P4, currently sit P14, so they've dropped down 10 spots unfortunately for them. So 2/3 of the field have either risen or stayed the same, and 1/3 of the field have lost spots. Morant's dropped 1, Cannon dropped 3, Flores leads, Skinner. The other ones to have dropped spots from their original starting position with 18.5 minutes left. It's Berea leading the way. It's a 1.3 second gap between him and Matt Morant's. Eastcott, despite serving the penalty, they're sitting in P3 right now, and the man on screen is sitting P4, and it is going to be super tight for time for Sains. See how it all washes out. And then Johnson in 5th position. Gap just under a second though between Arantz and Berea, so it hasn't exactly dropped him. A 58.89 to Berea on that lap around. Well, actually no, I update that. A 59.150 to a 59 flat. So Arantz, in fact, had the advantage that lap around. Gaps at a second. They've got a lap car coming up ahead of them. That's Jimmy. No, Bradley, sorry. Jimmy's face on it. As we're watching Turner Johnson occupying P5 right now. His teammate today, Michael Lee, he's pretty happy, I reckon. Top 5 finishes. Always has a nice ring to it. They've got John Cannon 8.8 seconds away. So lapping almost a second slower on that last lap around. So they just need to hold it together for another 16 and 40 odd seconds. Take home a very, very well-deserved P5. Gap out in front, 1.4, 1.5 seconds right now. See what lap times they do around, but Arantz the last time had the advantage. We'll see if that's the same. Only other cars lapping in the 59s is Felker and Flores. So everyone else 2 minutes plus right now. Still have all 15 cars running, which has been a real credit to everyone too. So well done to keeping them running. Last week we had the disconnection issues at the end of the race. I can't remember who that was, but yeah, quite brutal in the end. Turner Johnson, what to do to, so he could still get P4. So let's have a look at that title again. Yeah, let's see where they're at 33 minutes. 33 and 15. Oh, I don't think they're going to do it. And John Cannon and Retro, they might just scrape in. But there'll be some sweaty palms going on with those guys. Last lap of the race for Brea was a 58.875. Rance was a 59.067. So Brea had the advantage. That gap is now at about 1.5 seconds. With a tick over 14 minutes remaining in this one. 3-hour enduro of Silverstone. It's been a good one. It's been fun. From the rear of our race leader. Had the early race pit drama. Him and his teammate Carlos Rivadeneira managed to overcome and find themselves in the lead right now. Starting to drift now. Not a lot, but enough to start to put a bit of a dent in the chances of Matt Morantz and Gage Gonzalez taking this one. Go for a lap. Stefano Correa of Silverstone. He's coming through Abbey. Right on board with him. See how he's doing. Race leader with just over 10.5 minutes left, and we've got on the left hand side here is car number 69. Bradley's in there. But on the front is a picture of the other man who drives his car, Jimmy. And he's a picture of his face on there. I've seen that a couple of times before. Giving him a bit of a shout out. Look at all that traffic for our race leaders. This is one Flores that Beret is coming up on now. There's John Cannon, who's in P6. So gives you a bit of an idea of the sort of pace these guys are going at. Moran's that last lap around was actually a little bit quicker than Correa, 2/10 quicker in fact. So he's definitely not giving up right now. You wouldn't expect him to either. As the Porsche of John Cannon gets out of the way, tries to get out of the way anyway for Moran coming through. He's just behind these guys, and Lud Flores, I dare say, will do the same very, very shortly. There he goes. He's giving it a bit of a wide berth there. Bit of an art to that he drives through under blue flags. He makes it through the led dramas. I dare say Rams will do the same. They've been a very, very good team, these guys. Raya, as well as his teammate River De Niro. As well as I can. They've been very, very strong today. Showed very similar pace as well, which I think puts you in really good stead, puts you in the best position really that you can be in. Two drivers as evenly matched as possible during a teammate enduro race. And it's proven to be a winning combination so far. So tick under 8 minutes remaining in this one. They've completed 85 laps of Silverstone. For the sake of Gustavo Sainz and John Cannon, I'll be hoping that they don't do too many more, because they're very, very close to maxing out their drivers' times. Hungary is a hollow in my nose, and here one of the Hondas might too. Is he implying that one of the...
Now, no, I don't think so. Now that they're leading, I think it'll be an issue there.
Interesting. Because they're at 38 minutes, 38 and 40 seconds now. Sainz is at 41 and 25. And John Cannon's at 39.30 now. Interesting. We're going to have to wait and see. I thought they would have been fine. How they pitted. It's really going to come down to if they do an extra lap or not. Really, it depends on where it's going to go zero. We're going to find out in just over 6 minutes anyway. So all will be revealed. The gap is at 1.7. See what lap times are this time around. 59.390 or 59.167. So Iran's pushing until the very end right now, which is only a matter of mere minutes away. 5 minutes and 30 seconds right now. So not much time left in this one. That's the state
speed of the race. Turner Johnson 1.2 seconds behind Gustavo Sainz as well. So we suspect Sainz will need to pit again or incur a stint limit exceeding penalty. Super tight. Thought that they pitted too early when they did come in. It's looking like that's probably the case. We'll have to wait and see though. So could get away with it. It's going to come down to how much extra time, how many laps. Oh, look at that. Joe is all over it. Look at that. Perfect. Cool. Now you can see what I see. What we both see. Tanner Johnson though, despite I'm not too sure if he knows Sainz has to pit. Probably better that he just races it not knowing, but he's all over the back of Sainz now. That's for 4th and 5th. So Gustavo trying his best to hold on. 2 minutes 6:57. Maybe this one around. He goes slower again. Turner Johnson a second faster on that last lap. So Johnson doesn't want to wait for anything out of his control. He's all over the back of Sainz in P4. So they're going through Maggots and Beckett's now. Out of Chapel. Big comparison between these two. Sainz 249, Johnson 251. So a little bit of a speed advantage to Turner Johnson. Got the times there on the right-hand side screen. This is great stuff. Fighting it out to the bitter end. These are the two closest cars on the circuit right now. Rance continues to push till the very end. It's 500ths of a second faster on that lap around compared to him and Berea. Gaps at about 1.6, 1.3. It's about the gap. Yeah, so pushing hard to the very end. Here's Tony Johnson though. He's pushing hard to the end too. Oh, they make contact. Does he go around Sainz? He doesn't. Ooh, nice save from Sainz then. So close to going around. Managed to keep it. Oh, leaders on the final lap, 1:40 was to go. Whoa. That's probably the best possible news that Gustavo Sainz and John Cannon could receive. But I think it's going to be, oh my goodness, it is going to be so tight. I think it's going to be a matter of seconds, unfortunately, for Sainz and Santiago Pena. Mere seconds. John Cannon and Retro Coffin, I think they're going to be all right. But
these two are in front of Barrera, so that would mean they've still got to keep going.
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, dear. Yes. I didn't think about that. Oh, man. All right. All will become very, very clear very shortly. Let's just call it on the track. Turner Johnson. Oh, looking to make the move around the outside. That was going into Village. Oh, they made contact! Not big contact. That's a race leader coming through as well. He doesn't want to get caught up in this.
right at the very end, because he would lose the race if he did manage to somehow. Oh, he's got to send it down the inside of. That's not Eric Lloyd. That's Chris Rise in there. So some last lap drama for him. Drive-through penalty for Sainz. So that rules that out. But in the meantime, Stefano Barrea is going to cross the finish line. He will take victory. Congratulations to him. Sainz is going to continue on. Gonzalez and Matt Arantz engage Gonzalez. They come home in P3. And Sainz has exceeded the stint limit as well. I think so. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Waiting for Jeremy Escott to come through, but it's Stefano Barrea and Carlos Rivadeneira. They've both claimed victory. Congratulations to those guys. Matt Arantz and Gage Gonzalez. They've come home in P2. John Cannon and Retro Coffin. I think they made it in P6. From what I can see, they've got
they had a minute 30 left on their stint timer. Matt Arantz was only 0.3 behind Barrera at the end, with those cars fighting over position and not giving not moving for blue flags. Almost cost Barrera the race.
Yes. It could have been. It could have really ended quite badly, but they've taken home victory. Gage Gonzalez, Matt Arantz in P2. We're waiting for Jeremy Escott to finish. He's got no issues with his stint limit either. So he and Andrew Sherman waiting for our final podium getter, Gustavo Sainz. He's going to finish 5th on track, but he's gone over the stint limit timer, so he'll be penalised for that. John Cannon and Retro Coffin there in 6th. Kenneth Smith and Rodney Falcon 7th. Sean Vincent and Conrad Olakowski. Here we go. Here's Jeremy Escott. There we go. P3. Nice work to those guys. Matt Devine, Nathan Wilson, 9th. Eric Lloyd and Chris Rise, 11th. Matt Roger and Amans Petrovic, 11th. Joshua Piasek and Christopher Shuffler, 12th. 13th, I'm Not Jimmy and Bradley. Steve Sky and Stu Skinner in 14th. Looks like we ended up losing one in the end. So, why is it? Oh, because people are leaving. All right, that is it. That is the final Enduro for the year. So, congratulations to our race winners, Barrera and his teammate. Looks like they've already left the server. That was a good one. Good one to finish off. That's our last one for the year. Do you have any closing thoughts, Joe?
It was a great race. Very, very exciting through to the end. Thank you all. We've very much enjoyed broadcasting for PanAm. We look forward to doing the same next year. Have a good Christmas and a happy new year. Thank you for all of your efforts, Nick. Hope you have a good break. And look forward to seeing you all back in 2023.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And Merry Christmas to everyone. And I hope you all enjoy a safe and happy holiday period, whatever you do or whatever you celebrate. I hope you do it. I hope you take a lot of enjoyment out and do it safely.